Again, if you're just joining us, this is Tiana Maxwell, and we're super excited to talk about how you're being involved with StoryCon. So,
Yes.
first of all, though, will you just introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit
Absolutely.
about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Tiana Maxwell. I work at the Hale Center Theater. That's who I'm here representing. I'm an education administrator there, so I work in all things education. I help run all of our after school programs, our summer camps. I also help organize our educational outreach show called Story Weavers, which was
Mm.
also a part of StoryCon last year.
Hmm.
Me personally, I love Disney. I love to read. I love a good video game. I love to perform. I'm also an actor at the Hill and all around the state of Utah, actually. And I am just grateful for the little life I have. And I love animals. I love to be outside, and I love the sun. And
It
I,
sounds like you have a lot of loves. I love that.
I love it. That's who I am. I love to love.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, it's nice to meet you officially. And so maybe you can tell me a little bit about the partnership between Hill Center Theater and StoryCon, and
Yeah.
especially our Scene from a Script contest.
Absolutely. So last year it was a really cool opportunity. The Hale Center Theater helped sponsor our Scene from a Script contest. And what happened is we had students submit a script. And that script went to a panel of judges over at the Hale
Mhm.
Center Theater. We read all of them. And then we decided top 3 scripts. And then we, as like I was saying earlier, the Story Weavers, which is our educational outreach program, we got to perform those scripts at StoryCon. And it was really cool to have professional actors, because we are professional actors performing all over the state, all over the world, actually. And we performed those scripts for those students, for those top 3 scripts. It was so cool. I was one of those actors, and it was a really, really awesome opportunity.
I loved it. I had the opportunity to watch just a little bit
Yeah.
because I was kind of all over the place, but I did get to sneak in for a little while, and it was so fun. And I could just see on the teens' faces, the kids who
Oh,
submitted their scripts, they were
we,
so
we
excited.
were so nervous because when you put yourself out there in any capacity, especially as it is your art, your script, your thing, you're putting it out there, and all of us were like, what if they don't like what we do? What if they had a different vision? What if they didn't like the choice we made? And that was not the case. It was every single one of them was so excited.
Yeah.
We were like, who wrote this one? And they all screamed, and all their friends were pointing. It was just so awesome to have an opportunity for someone to create a story,
Mhm.
to be able to then have it performed
Mhm.
on a stage with a cool setting like the
Right.
Story Weavers and the Hale Center Theater was able to provide for them.
Yeah, and it's so fun. I'm sure that they learned a lot
Oh,
about
of course.
how story can be represented through a script,
Mm-hmm.
and as well at the same time as like seeing the words that they created
Yeah.
acted out on stage. I think that's so incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, also besides the scene from a script,
Right.
we also had a couple of other opportunities to have Hale represented on our main stage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you were involved. Well, I know you did the Story Weavers.
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit more. What did you do last year, and what might they? If I don't know if you've planned or discussed what might be coming up for
Yeah,
next year.
I do know.
Yay.
I'm the person who helps schedule it all,
Oh,
so I know a
perfect.
lot of those things. But our Story Weavers, we go out to elementary schools and we perform 2 different shows, younger grades and older grades. And they're usually educational based, where at the end of this, it's a 20-minute show. And then at the end, we have a talk back. And we're like, hey, what did you learn? What did you notice in the show? We have an opportunity for them to raise their hands and discuss with us. And then we also talk about how they can create their own stories. We talk about storytelling elements in our show, like props, costumes, music, things like that. Also talk about all of the other elements as well, as like you need a beginning, middle, and end, and you need to be able to, and you can also create it at your house and do whatever you want. It's okay.
Awesome.
You can create whatever you want.
Yeah,
And so
well,
Story Weavers is great.
that's so cool. Well, that would probably be a really great opportunity for our educators who are attending StoryCon to
Oh,
see what you guys are
absolutely.
all about.
Yeah.
But then also the kids can come and be entertained at the same
Yes,
time, which
yes.
is so awesome.
Yeah,
So,
it's really awesome.
okay, well, thank you so much for coming in
Of course,
and
I'm happy to
telling
be
us a little bit
here.
about it. And We're so excited for StoryCon. It's going to be
Yes,
awesome.
I'm
So
excited too.
awesome. Okay, well, thank you so
You're
much for being
welcome.
here, Tiana. And
Thank
hey,
you.
oh, look at that. That's like a straight on shot. That's new. Hi,
Hi.
Karen.
Hi, I thought I was late, but it seems like everything's late.
No,
Yeah.
yes, we are running just a little bit late. We just had a little bit of a slow start. So I'm so glad you're here. And Eric, I don't know if there's anything you can do about this, but I can barely hear her. I could my
Am I better
computer
now?
isn't working. So but Robin, I'm so glad to have you here. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your books.
Sure, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure. Can you hear me now? Are we good?
I can hear you. It's our end. You are great for everybody else. It's just me.
Okay,
Oh,
sure.
there, that's so much better. They helped me out. So
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I was running late, so I didn't grab them. I can run behind me and grab my books and show them.
we're good.
Okay, but for everyone listening, hi, or watching, hi, I'm Robin Schneider. I am the best-selling author of lots of books for teens. I wrote The Beginning of Everything, Extraordinary Means, and the Emery Merlin, like the other Merlin trilogy, amongst many, many others. So I've written fantasy and contemporary realistic fiction. I love writing about like strong girls saving the world, found families, like smart kids figuring out their place in the world, like queer characters, castles and magic, and like all sorts of just like fun, like swoony, exciting stories.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool. So maybe okay. Um, tell me a little bit about what you might be offering in terms of instruction while you're at StoryCon. Know you might not have a full picture quite yet, but that's okay. Just what are some things that you often teach when you go into classes like this?
Yeah. Well, so I found out in advance. I was like bugging your programming people, and I was
Right.
like, "Tell me which workshop got accepted." So I'm going to be leading a teen writing workshop called "Creating Memorable Characters That Your Readers Will Relate to, Even When They're Saving the World."
I
Um,
love it.
Oh, it's gonna be so fun. So pretty much like my favorite example of like a memorable character that is relatable is Percy Jackson, right? Like, and he's not relatable because he's the son of Poseidon. Like, that's really cool, and that makes him qualified to save the world. But the reason that so many readers relate to him is because he struggles in school. He has ADHD, he has dyslexia, he has a hard time. He's constantly getting into trouble with authority figures. He feels like he's one of the bad kids and he doesn't know how to fix it. And then there's Annabeth, right? His best friend who's like relatable for all of the girls who are the smart book girlies who don't struggle in school. So you've got like these two characters, right, who have this backstory of not belonging and then finding a world where they do. And I feel like that's something everyone can relate to. That's something we've all felt before, not fitting in a new town, a new school, and then finally finding your people and how magical that is. And for them, it is literally magical. Um, so we're going to be talking about characters like that who were born not knowing that they're a hero or a royal or they have magic powers, and how that can be very different from characters who have always grown up in the lap of luxury or have always grown up with like the burden of knowing that they have to make a sacrifice or save the world. And we're going to break down examples of like why popular characters work, how your choice of main characters can affect your story, how to develop like the right stakes and the right goals and fears for your characters for the story that you want to tell so that your readers become emotionally invested, not just in your story, but in your protagonist and are just like, oh, I'm such a so and so, and are saying the name of your character.
Right.
So that's, I guess, what we're going to go over in the workshop. We're going to do some writing exercises. I always have time for a Q&A. When I was 18, I sold my first book to Penguin Random House. So I was a teen writer. Like, I
Yeah.
totally get it. I was like in the same seat that like everyone in the audience is in now. And I kind of like, I love helping out and like lowering the ladder and like helping everybody like get there and write their books and hopefully see them published.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that you're kind of a success story for these kids that they can really look towards. They can be like, hey, Robin did this. I can do it too, right? And that
Yes.
is so cool. And I feel like at StoryCon we have quite a wonderful feeling of kind of camaraderie. Kids really feel like they find their place. They find their people, their tribe, their group, like their connection. And I think that that's so important. I love that you're going to be talking about character and how kids can, and how to allow your audience to see themselves in your writing, right? So that's
Mhm.
so cool. I love it.
Thank you.
Um, Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you started writing. So obviously you started very young. That is so cool. I wish I was someone who said that I started writing young. I actually, when I was a teen, I was not a fan of writing, to believe it or not. But now here I am. I love it. I love it. So I grew into it. But tell me about you.
Sure. I mean, it can come to you at any age, this like itch to put your pen to paper, your fingers to your keyboard. For me, I was 13 and I read this book called Demon in My View by this author, Amelia Atwater Rhodes. And on the back cover, she was a teenager when she wrote her book. There was this big picture of this teen girl. And I thought that was so cool that like teenagers could do that and could get published and like their books could be in bookstores. And that was amazing to me. So I read that and I already had that idea. And then I read the Harry Potter books when I was 13. That was right when they had come out. And I remember being so in love with the idea of like a magic school and like the friend groups there. And I was like, I want to write stories that give people like that feeling. And then I had in my head, well, teenagers can already write stories. So I got a notebook and I immediately just started writing. And my first book was not great, but it taught me that I could persevere and write an entire book, which was huge. And then I kept writing and I wrote like three more books. And then when I was 18, I got very lucky, like through querying over email, and I got a literary agent and then I got a book deal. No special like advantages. I was like looking at books in the library, reading websites of what to do. I didn't have any connections. So it was all very organic, but it just sprung from a love of reading and knowing that it was possible to get published as a teen. So yeah, like all of the kids coming to StoryCon, I'm so excited. Like I wish I had this conference because I probably like, I don't know, maybe I would have had a book deal at 16. Like,
Holy cow. Well, I mean, I think if there's anybody that these kids can be inspired by is this story. I love it. I think that that is so awesome. And I think that the kids are going to be so excited to meet you in person and have the opportunity to, learn from you and what you've learned. And I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for being with us today. It's been so fun to have you, and I look forward to meeting you in person
see?
in February. So everybody, make sure to join us and make sure to take Robin's class, and it'll be so great to see you then.
Yeah, I'll see everyone then.
All
Bye.
right, thank you. Thanks, Robin.
Sure.
Okay, it looks like we're gonna transition now. We're gonna introduce Sean Barrows. Hello, Sean.
Hey,
Awesome. It's so great to have you here. And maybe we could have somebody come back in and turn down the sound now if you guys have the opportunity, Eric. Um, okay. Well, Sean, I'm so excited to meet you in person. Again,
likewise.
you're another person that I've met over Zoom and we've chatted now for a little while, but maybe you can introduce yourselves to whoever might be watching out there.
I'm Sean Barrows. I was on American Idol a while back, a long time ago. I got an Emmy nomination probably about 10 years ago, and I had a couple songs that did pretty well. I got 600 million streams so far on my songs, and chipping away. And now I'm an author of the first musical book series of this kind, where I created my own full cast musical audiobook. It's called the Paradise Planets. So that's my main focus right now.
Which I did the audiobook. I listened to it. It's
Uh-huh.
really fun. I
Great.
really enjoyed it. So
Thanks.
it's so fun. Okay, well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you're going to be involved with StoryCon. Well, maybe first tell me how you were introduced to StoryCon. How did you hear about us?
Oh, I know Jen. Jen was actually my editor for my book. So,
Aha.
but I mean, I grew up with her husband. He was a
Ah.
good friend of mine in high school. I mean, he was a bit of a jerk sometimes too. He was a
We won't
jock.
tell Clint.
No, I tell him all the
Oh,
time.
okay, okay, good. Clint, come on.
Yeah. No, he was cool in the
Yeah.
end. He came around. We all go through our phases, but he was still, he was still a good friend at the same time. But anyway, we stayed in touch, and then I found out that his wife was an author as well. And I think we bumped into each other at a reunion, a high school reunion or something, and got to talking about books. And next thing I know, she was the perfect fit for editing and helping me out with my book. And so then I found out about StoryCon through her. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, if you're following along, if you've listened at all very much this afternoon to what we've been talking about, this name probably has come up a few times. Jen Jenkins is our CEO of Operation Literacy. She's amazing, wonderful friend of mine, and obviously many other people.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that she introduced you to StoryCon. So tell me, so you and I have been working a little bit together
Yeah.
to get something fun prepared for the kids. So tell us about this contest that we're doing.
Well, we want to do a songwriting contest because songwriting is a great outlet for all kids to figure out how to explore their emotions. Writing music, writing songs is the best way to really convey your emotions, and I want to just encourage that. I want everybody to show me what they're feeling, especially teenagers, because teenagers, they have all these emotions and they don't know how to express them. And music is one of the best ways to really get that out there so everybody around them actually understands what they're feeling. It's so I want to encourage that. I want to see what these teenagers can come up with. And I mean, I'm actually always impressed by just how brilliant some of these young minds are with their creative prowess. So I want to hear that. So we want to run a songwriting contest with StoryCon and just see who the best songwriter in the area is.
That is so cool. I personally am very excited about this. I have a music background, and I think it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to find out what the teens create and the storytelling that they get to do through this contest. I
Right.
think it's going to be so fun. Okay, so let's see. I just want to make sure. So if you want to know how you can participate in the the songwriting contest is what I meant to say, or the film writing contest that we talked about earlier, you can definitely find out more information on our website. As we mentioned, most of them have a deadline in December, so pay attention to when the deadline is. But how will they, like, if they once they've written it or they've figured out their song, how are they going to like share that with us? Tell us maybe a couple of the different ways that they could possibly
Right.
enter the contest.
It could be any of the formats, from sheet music to a video to a phone recording. Any way to show what you've written. I mean, usually the audio recording or a video recording is the easiest. Just film on your phone. I mean, almost everybody has access to that right now.
Yeah.
You grab just get a quick video, or you do your voice memo, and you submit that file to our forums, and then I'll get all those files and I'll listen to them that way.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask you that question because I wanted kids to know that it can be really pretty simple and easy to just enter. I know that growing up, and as a child and as an adult, I've written several songs, but it's always just been in my head. You know what I mean? I haven't like written it out, and I probably the idea of like actually writing something out is a little bit intimidating.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, so
Well,
that'll
that's
be
why
easy.
They need to just know that I mean, to get past that, like, it doesn't have to be the most perfect song in the world. Really, you don't even know how good it is until you share it. It might actually be amazing. You might
Yeah.
just think, I don't know about this one. It's not that good, but just submit it anyway, because you just never know.
Yeah.
I mean, for all you know, it ends up being the greatest song in the world to one other person or 5 other people, and then you build it from there.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Great. Awesome. Okay. They're telling me to transition, but I have one more quick question.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make sure that the kids know. So if they have the opportunity of winning this contest, tell us a little bit about the experience that they might get to have doing that.
So right now the plan is for them to showcase these songs, and we want to have that featured front and center at StoryCon, where I can perform it, you guys can perform it with me. But the idea is that I want to help present that. So likely it'll be me on the keys and you up there with me singing this song and performing it for the audience. If you're too nervous to do that, of course, I'll sing it. But that's totally up to you. I want to kind of help you kind of feel like you can present that to the audience.
Yeah, yeah. So won't that be so exciting? I'm so excited for this contest. Thank you so much for being here today with
Of
us
course.
and helping us. And Sean, it's awesome.
Thanks for having
Wonderful
me.
to have you. All right. Okay, we're gonna transition now to another guest. We're super excited to have Jeff Wheeler come and join us. So he's going to be on his way here in just a second. And this time is just flying by. Can I just say? It's been super fun. Oh, and I'm dropping my mic. Oh, there's Jeff. Hello.
Hey.
It's so good to have you join us. And I think we need the sound turned up again. Thank you. Okay, just one second, Jeff, while I get so I can hear you a little bit better here.
Well, I'm here.
There
Can
you
hear me
are.
Okay.
Say that again.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you a little bit better now. Yes, for sure. So how are you doing, Jeff? It's been a little while. Are you doing well today?
Absolutely. And I am so excited about StoryCon coming out again. It was so much fun last year, and this is going to be even better this year, I think.
Awesome. Yay, I am too. Okay. Well, introduce yourself to us. Tell me what you do. I know what you do, but tell anybody who might be watching what you do.
Well, I was able to leave my day job a little over 10 years ago to become a full-time author. And so that's just something that's been a dream come true. When I was in high school, if my high school self could see me now, his brain would probably explode because I have the job I wanted back then when I was in high school. So I write epic fantasy novels. My breakaway novel was Mirrorwood. My most best-selling one is King Fountain. I've written over 40 epic fantasy novels that are all kind of interconnected and related to each other, and just having the time of my life. But I love everything StoryCon is about and does, and so happy to be part of it again.
Well, I know that you have been an early supporter of Operation Literacy, and we are so grateful. We are so, you're just wonderful, Jeff. I hope you know that. It's so great to have you. So maybe give us a tiny taste of what you might be offering in terms of instruction at StoryCon, because I know you're going to be teaching one of our classes at least, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I have a variety of different classes that I teach, and one of the things I love to do for StoryCon specifically is to really target for the audience that's there, right? Whether it's advanced writers or whether people who are just starting and stuff. And so I'm just so excited to be able to do it. I have to remember which class I'm teaching. I think it's about creativity, and
Yeah, I think one of them is maybe what I wish I knew before quitting the day job.
That's definitely one of the fun classes that I've been doing, because there's so much we've all learned. Like a lot of authors that I know that are full time now. My goodness, there's things we didn't know about, like 401ks and about self-employment insurance, things like that I wasn't even thinking about when I was a teenager, right?
Yeah.
But now that I have this as a full-time job, retirement, all those kinds of topics, you got to prepare for it. And the more you know about that kind of stuff, the better. But I
Right.
try to weave in all sorts of real life examples of what I've learned from my career. And I always like to take time to answer questions, because even though my class might be about a certain topic, I want to make sure there's time to answer questions about anything related to the
Yeah.
craft that people want to know about. So I love doing that and love being able to come and support you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. So not right now might be a good time to talk about how we have different tracks at StoryCon. So we have a tween track that will be for like 8 to 12-year-olds. We have a teen track, which is 13 to 19, and then we have an adult track as well. And then within the adult track, we also have an educator track. So I think that this what I wish I knew before quitting my day job. I think that one will be in our adult track. And then I think you might be also involved in other panels or maybe another class as well. And so I'm excited to see you there. I think the world of you, Jeff. And like I said, I know you've been a very early supporter of Operation Literacy, and we're so grateful that you could join us today. Um, how can people find you? Like, are you online? Do you have a website? Do you have a social media following? How can people find you?
Absolutely. So I do have a website. It's jeff-wheeler.com. And I have different sections for all the different worlds that I've created. So people can kind of browse like, oh, maybe I want to read Muirwood. Maybe I want to learn about the Grave Kingdom. Maybe I want to read Jeff's thriller. And they can, just kind of get a high level of what each of those worlds is about. My books sell primarily on Amazon. That's just the easiest place to find it. But I'm also on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I have a newsletter. So if somebody signs up on my newsletter, I give them some free stories, so that way they can kind of test out. Hey, I like this style. I like what it is, and I do respond to my readers when they answer my newsletter emails. I respond back to them. So I love to be able to help coach and things. Have you guys already talked about the Story Explorium that's going to be there yet?
I have not talked about that yet, but that might be mentioned at some point today. Are you going to be involved a little bit in the Story Explorium?
Yes, and that's something I'm super excited about. So I made a little video about it, so that will come out later. But was so excited that to hear about this great new thing, and I don't want to spill any beans about it, but it's super cool. And authors like me are going to be participating in some of the swag or things that you're going to find in it. So stay
Yes,
tuned for more.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, that is going to be something that you might find in our expo hall this year. That's brand new. That is just going to be really fun and exciting for. Hopefully, it will be fun and exciting for our attendees. So, well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so fun to see you. And if I don't see you before then, I definitely will see you in February. So, thank you
See
so
you
much.
at StoryCon. Absolutely. Great to see
All
you, Mary.
right. See you then.
Bye bye.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Well, this is kind of the end of my portion of being here. I'm sure you guys, if there's anybody watching, which I don't know if there is, but if there's anybody watching, I'm sure you're like, okay, we've had enough of Mary. Let's move along. And I'm really excited that some of my team members are going to be coming in, and we're going to also be talking about some more authors in a little while. We're going to have some of our some more about some of our Tyla sponsors who are going to be coming up soon, and also as well as how to volunteer if you're interested in volunteering with StoryCon, and also just a little bit more about registration and some of the amazing people that I get to work with on a daily basis. So thanks for having me. We'll see ya.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here today to introduce you to Jennifer A. Nielsen, New York Times, well, #1 New York Times bestselling author, and one of my great friends who has been a longtime supporter of Teen Author Bootcamp and StoryCon and all of our programs, including the Book Drop program that we're going to talk about today. Just to let you in on a secret, she is, you probably don't, you already know, but she is one of our 6 keynote speakers this year, and we are absolutely thrilled to have her as a keynote. And anyway, we're just ready to get her on. Apparently, she is ready to join us. Jennifer, I'm so excited to see you.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
Doing great. You have me okay?
Well, we're just so thrilled. We're having such a fun day gearing up for StoryCon and just figuring out what's going on here. And I understand I'm supposed to tell you where our ticket sales are at right now. I'm supposed to tell you our numbers. And this is the really exciting thing. I'm only allowed to talk about teen right now, but we are at 777 teen tickets sold since we started this morning. And so we are more than halfway sold of our capacity for teen already today.
Whoa. No, I mean, I'm like genuinely thrilled, and I'm not surprised.
So
People
many
know how
amazing
awesome
teams
this
are going to
is.
get to come see you, and we're really excited about that. Would you just introduce yourself real quick and tell us about the role you play at StoryCon?
My name is Jennifer Nielsen, and the role I am so honored to be able to play here is I run the book drop program for Operation Literacy.
Well, yeah, and also you're one of our 6 keynotes this year at StoryCon too, which is super fun.
I
But
know
yeah,
that was a
actually,
hefty bribe.
this is how I actually got involved with Operation Literacy. My very first opportunity to come on board was you telling me about Book Drop and me getting to experience learning about that. Would you? It really is kind of the heart and soul of what we do at Operation Literacy, and I feel like Book Drop is probably the program that's closest to all of our hearts. But it was also kind of your brainchild program. Would you just tell us a little bit about Book Drop, the background, and how it works?
Yeah, so it started several years ago. I was at a conference with Scholastic employees, Scholastic authors, this sort of thing. And the president of Scholastic then was Dick Robinson. And he gave a speech that hit me like lightning, which is he said, until children have equal access to books, we will never have an equal society. And that's it. That is it. And yet we live in a society, and that's closer to home than any of us want to think, where 60% of children in low income households do not own a single book of their own. And we know that book ownership is one of the strongest uh, indicators of literacy, just owning the book, having your own copy, not checking it out from a library, not visiting. It's got to be yours. And yet, libraries in low income neighborhoods, if they exist, they have shorter hours. And many families simply can't get to them because they're working 2 or 3 jobs. We know that in middle class neighborhoods, you have kids who you have 13 books for every one middle grade, no, middle class child. And in low income neighborhoods, the number reverses. For every child in a high poverty neighborhood, there is, for every child, there's only, for every book, there's only about 3. How am I doing this? I'm on vacation, everybody. This is why. 1 book for every 300 children in a high poverty neighborhood. And that is unacceptable. That's why Book Drop.
It is unacceptable. And I know, Jen, you told me a story about kind of how this whole thing came to be for you and that you were on a trip to Flint, Michigan. I believe it was, wasn't it Michigan where you were?
Mhm.
You first had this idea.
It was the one of the early seeds, and what it was, there's this amazing school district on the other side of the highway, and every single student there, every year from kindergarten until 8th grade, gets an author visit, and that's an incredible gift that is given to them. But one day, driving down the highway, and if you look to the right, that's where this is, and if you look to the left, it's Flint, Michigan, where most of the children there will never see an author. Most of the children there don't own a single book of their own. And to have these 2 completely different worlds divided by this highway is one thing. To have them divided by a literacy gulf where you have this flood of resources and a desert. And the goal of Book Drop is to say all children must be readers. All children deserve an equal chance for a future. And the most amazing thing about Operation Literacy is we're not just singing that tune. For people who support this organization, and even if it's like, hey, I can give $5 to it, but better yet, you come to StoryCon, you see the breadth of what is happening here, and you realize, like, not only are you doing something for yourself, but you are making possible futures for children who might never otherwise have it.
I think as an author, when you taught me that, like every book that I've ever read that you've written, and I have read a lot, you write about heroes. You write about kids who are heroes, and you tell these amazing stories about children who face really hard things, and then they have to go through those experiences, and then they triumph over it because they find that missing piece, they find that piece of themselves, and they go and do big, beautiful, amazing things. And when I teach my fiction at summer camps, I often feel like I'm channeling you and the message that you give, because I'm talking about the fact that I know the reason that writers write books about kids who are heroes is because that's reality, right? These kids right now, they're in the middle of these epic struggles and doing all of these epic things and finding a way to be heroes. And fiction can help them, right? When they see themselves in that fiction and become empowered in that way. And we have a stat that we use all the time here with Book Drop. I know you've probably quoted it to us, but it's just that a child is 80% more likely to read a book once they've met the author. So would you tell us just a little bit about what a book drop looks like when it comes to a school, what that program feels like in a school?
Yeah, we select Title I schools with kids who are in high poverty situations, and we invite an author to speak to the schools, to donate an assembly, and uh, and then Book Drop purchases one of those authors' books for every child who is there in attendance, so that every child walks out with a book, and that is absolute magic. I remember we had Nick Brooks, who is going to be there this year, right? Nick Brooks comes in, and the school was nervous. They had never had an assembly because they were so nervous about how the kids would respond. And so here they're bringing in this author, and you've got all the anxiety of everybody. And what does Nick do? He walks up onto that stage. He opens his book, Promise Boys, and he just begins to read. And every student in that room locked in on him. But that was amazing enough. The magic that happened was after he left. And all of those kids holding a copy of Promise Boys in their hand sat in the hallways, sat at lunch tables, sat outside, and they opened their book and they continued to read. And for most of those kids, it was probably the first book they had willingly opened in their entire lives.
At a book drop at Granger Elementary School with you in Salt Lake. And we did some workshops, and then the kids got their books, and that was a really special event. They wound up getting a book from each of 4 authors who taught them. And I just remember watching these kids with their piles of books like treasure, you know, and I remember how big of a deal it was getting books. And I know you have had a similar experience to me where we weren't the kids necessarily who were getting that Scholastic book order, right? Anyway, this is incredible. Jen, just one last second as I'm transitioning to our next speaker. Is there any advice that you have for people who want to get involved? How can they get involved? How can they donate? How can they help?
The thing is sometimes we feel like to get involved, you have to do something big, or it has to be some huge time pressure. It doesn't. Sometimes getting involved is like, hey, you know what? I've got $5 and that's all I've got. And that's amazing. Or, we have volunteers who are like, look, I can do this little thing. I can do this little part. And honestly, if this isn't the right timing for you, if this isn't the right role for you, I know what anybody here can do, and that is get a book and put it into the hands of a child. I'm getting all mom on this. Put it into the hands of a child who will not otherwise be able to get that book for themselves. And if that's all you can do, then my friend, you have made magic.
Jen, I cannot thank you enough. You're one of my heroes, and I'm so grateful to work with you every day on getting books into the hands of kids that need them. And what a great privilege it is for both of us to work with Operation Literacy on this. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, guys, we have got another guest coming right up. Like I can't even believe how quickly the time is going today. And in fact, my notes here said that we had till 2:20 on this presentation, so I was trying to stretch it on out. So now I'm hurrying right on in. We're going to introduce you to Sarah Ella. I want to just let you know this is a fantastic author, but in addition to her being a fantastic author, Sarah Ella is a very, very serious fan favorite at StoryCon. I cannot tell you the number of times I have heard someone tell me how incredible she is. So let's welcome Sarah Ella today.
You write about kids who are.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Sarah, we are so excited to have you here with us today for our StoryCon launch stream, and so excited to have you on programming again this year. When we were sitting in our programming meeting with all the names and the sticky notes and all of the things trying to decide how we were doing programming, every time your name came up, people would just go, everyone loves her. She's the best. Make sure that we have her on programming.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. I love hearing that. And the feeling is mutual because StoryCon, being a new author there this last year, I just felt so welcomed. So the feeling is absolutely mutual.
Huge fan favorite especially with our teens and I know our
Oh,
educators too. We're talking about you.
thank
So
you.
would you just give us a little bit of an intro to you and your books? Tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. So I'm Sarah Ella. I am a YA fantasy author. I have almost 7 published novels. My new Cinderella retelling comes out in October. It's called Glass Across the Sea, and I'm really, really excited about that. It's my first full fantasy novel set only in a fantasy world. There are no portals to our world in this one. And I just love to write for teens. I love StoryCon and what StoryCon's about. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, but I used to live in Utah. So I still have family in Utah. I love coming back to Utah. And I have 3 kids. I'm a homeschool mom. And my favorite place in the entire world, aside from StoryCon, would be Disneyland. So that's just a little bit about me.
Well, you sound like a kindred spirit for sure. I know we actually have a ton of homeschool parents, homeschool educators, and homeschool students who come to StoryCon, and I'm sure they'd be thrilled to know that you're homeschooling as well. That's so cool. Would you also give us just a little taste of what you'll be offering in your class at StoryCon this year as you're doing your instruction?
Absolutely. So this last StoryCon, I taught about storytelling Disney style. So in true Disney fashion, I have to draw from the Disney references because they're just the best. So my class is actually inspired a little bit by Buzz Lightyear. It's called Infinity, Rejections, and Beyond, Why Criticism is Critical to an Author's Growth. And so we all experience criticism, we all experience rejection, and when you get that first book contract and when you get that first agent who wants to look at your work, you're on like such a high. It's like, this is the best. Everything is right in the world when you get that your book published, whether it be through independent publishing or through a publisher. But then rejection always comes. There's always going to be people who don't like your books. They're all, even like the best authors in the world, like some of the authors who are going to be at StoryCon, who are New York Times bestselling authors, they get bad reviews and they get rejected too. And so I'm just going to be talking a little bit about how to deal with that, how to cope with rejection, how to stay motivated when feedback you get is not motivating, how to not keep your identity rooted in those bad reviews or in criticism, how criticism doesn't define your ability as an author. It doesn't mean that you're not a good writer. So just how to just kind of navigate all of that. So it's going to be a class of encouragement, but also with practical tips for how to navigate all of that and cope with rejection. And most importantly, how to just keep writing and keep going, and when to take that criticism and apply it and when to leave it behind.
I mean, that sounds like one of the most applicable and important class topics you could possibly give. I know myself as a 17-year-old writer, I asked a published writer to critique me, and then I didn't write again for other than for
Mm.
college for 10 years. I was 27 before I started again to really dig in and try to become a published author again. I've also been through 3 different literary agents, and my
Mm.
second literary agent told me that I had to fire her if I ever wanted to revise or come back to the novel that then became my debut.
Oh,
um,
wow.
which, you know, it's just an interesting thing to think about all of the different spaces where, like, how many times I have felt that kind of devastation,
Mhm.
and then if you can press forward and go through that, how you can use that, right? Like, she was not wrong
Mhm.
about that book not being ready. It was not ready. And eventually her criticism actually has been a real blessing. So I'm so excited. Do you have like a tip you could share with our viewers today on the launch stream just about how to handle critique when it comes?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I would say, especially for those who are viewing who maybe are not being published yet and they're just, working with critique partners or they're getting that feedback, I would say, it's important to remember like to guard your story, right? Like we all need that feedback. Like for my debut novel, Unblemished, I was told that my prologue was not working, that prologues are unnecessary, and that you shouldn't have a prologue at all, right? That book still has a prologue, but the prologue is different from what I originally wrote. And so being able to understand and know your story and being confident in your story and remembering that your story is your story. Nobody else can write your story but you. All right. And so it's okay to push back and not necessarily accept everything because you're going to know your story really well. I know of authors who have just taken every single piece of feedback and they completely changed their story and they submitted it to an agent and the agent was like, I this is what you had before was like I asked you to revise it, but what you had before was working. What is all of this that you changed? And so I would just say think about why do you have that in there, whatever it is that's being criticized, whether it's your characters or a setting or a prologue. Why is that in there and what's your reason for it? And if you have a good reason for it, stand on that reason, but think about, okay, so how can I make this better? Maybe I need the prologue, but maybe this isn't the right prologue. And so really think about that why of your story, but don't be afraid to guard your story and ask questions too. Don't just take the criticism and try to apply it if you don't agree with it. Feel free to ask questions, talk to the person who is giving you that feedback, so you can really better understand where they're coming from, and then they can understand where you're coming from and talk that out.
I love that. Yeah, I've had a lot of different critique experiences, and some of them are great and some of them are not. And learning how to hold on to your story is really, really important. And then I loved how you said that part of your class is going to be talking about essentially that getting critique and feedback is not an indication that you're not good, right? That's not
Right,
actually a
right,
reflection on you and your writing as in general, right? So that sometimes
exactly.
as authors we take it as like an identity hit, when
Hmm.
someone says our story's not working, but really it can be a gift.
Right, absolutely. Like you said, like a blessing, right? Like sometimes we need that hard feedback and we need to know and learn how to be able to apply it. Had a similar experience in college. I was a great writer in high school, according to my literature teacher, and then I got to college and my college writing professor was like, "This is horrible." And I was just like, I thought, "Oh, well, maybe I'm not a good writer." But it's that feedback that made me push myself to understand, okay, how can I make this better? And maybe she's not challenging me because she thinks I'm horrible. Maybe she's challenging me because she thinks I can do it. So taking on that challenge and knowing that somebody's not going to give you a challenge unless they think that you're capable of bettering your writing. And we're all bettering our writing no matter how many novels we write. We're all still growing. There's no point of like I made it so now I don't have to grow as an author. And so we're all really in this together no matter if you're published or not published.
In this together feeling is exactly why we're here. The authors, and I think people know, but the authors who come to StoryCon mostly are coming because they want to give. They're coming because it's on mission for them to spread that knowledge that they've had to make it a little easier for someone who's coming after them. And I think we all we get to know how empowering it is to have been able to tell our own authentic stories and to share those with the world. So I'm super grateful for StoryCon and also just for you and authors like you who are coming to do that. Do you have any last words that you'd like to say? That sounds like you're dying. You're not dying. But do you have anything else? You're telling me it's time to transition to our next guest. But I wanted to see if there's any last tips that you have for our young authors and our adult authors too. We've got a full adult track this year, which is going to be quite robust.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would just say if this is your first time at a conference, or maybe you've been to lots of conferences, but I would say, especially for those who are timid and worried about attending their first conference, don't be afraid to go and talk to your favorite author. They are there to talk to you, they are there to see you and pour into you. So if you see me, if you see any of these other authors, come up and talk to us. Come up and share your story with us. Share what you're writing. We want to hear about it. We want to encourage you. Be bold and be brave, because we've all been where you've been. We all know what it's like to feel like the new person. I felt like the new person at StoryCon this year, and so many authors just came around me and welcomed me and loved on me. And so we would love to do that for you. So don't be afraid to come say hi.
100%. I think you're going to have a great experience when you come to StoryCon, and it's because of authors like Sarah Ella. Sarah, we're so grateful that you could join us today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me,
We will see
Heather.
you at StoryCon with bells
Yay.
on. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a great day. All right. Well, I don't know if I have a second before we have Wendelin Van Drainen, but we are really, really excited to introduce you to Wendelin today. I believe you're going to be seeing a pre-recorded presentation for Wendelin. When we saw that she was interested in coming to StoryCon, people completely freaked out. Specifically, I know I just know that one of our educators who is a deep diehard fan, she was just like salivating to get a chance to talk to her. So we're really excited about that. But before we get to Wendelin, I would absolutely love to tell you a little bit more about what is exciting coming up in StoryCon 2026, which this is bad. They literally just showed me a cue card and said I got to just talk about what's exciting at StoryCon 2026. And I'm looking at you, Mary Taylor. I might just wind up spilling some beans. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But I just want to tell, I always love to tell all the fun things. It's my literal favorite part of my job. I want to tell you just a couple things. I know if you've been watching our live stream, you know that our songwriting contest this year is being judged by a Grammy award-winning artist. And that is our songwriting contest for teens. And it will also, the reward for that contest is getting your song professionally produced. I'm giddy about that. I'm really hoping that a lot of our teens will get involved in our contest this year. One of the things that I'm most excited about also is, once again, we have the Hale Center Theater judging our playwriting contest when you write a scene from a play, and the winning plays will be acted out on the main stage by professional Hale Center Theater actors, which is such a fantastic opportunity. The other thing that I am really wishing that I had had when I was a teenager wanting to be an author is the opportunity for our publications and contests. The contests that we have this year, I believe for teen, we have first line and first chapter contest. And in addition to the songwriting and the playwriting contest, for tweens, we've got a first paragraph contest. And those contests get you feedback from published authors, and it gives you an opportunity to really learn what you're doing right, and maybe some opportunities to improve and strengthen your writing. So the feedback is invaluable. Whether or not you win any sort of a contest, it's a really great opportunity. So I highly encourage educators to encourage your teens and tweens to apply for these contests. But the big one that I want to talk about is our publications. We have a poetry anthology and a short story anthology that we have published for years now with StoryCon, and then before that with Teen Author Bootcamp. And those anthologies are an amazing opportunity for teen authors to shine, because you get an opportunity to be selected by a professional editor, then go through the full editing process with that editor. And then after, so sorry, and then after, they just showed me a cue card and it made my brain go like, blah, blah. I'm not very good at this. But anyway, Then after you're selected, you go through a full editorial process and with a professional editor, and then you're paid for your work in the anthology and you are a professionally published author. So please don't hesitate to enter those contests and publications, both the short story anthology and the poetry anthology. It's a great opportunity. Okay, now we're going to hear from Wendelin Van Drainen, and we're so excited that she's coming to StoryCon this year.
Hey there, I'm Wendelin Van Drainen. I'm the author of the Sammy Keys series, Flipped, The Running Dream, and lots of other novels, including my brand new thriller, The Steps. I'm super excited to be participating in StoryCon 2026. I'll be doing 2 sessions. The first one is a tween class titled Creating Colorful Characters. In that class, I'll give tips on things like writing realistic dialogue, avoiding the sagging middle of a novel, how to use hidden structure to add cohesion to your story, the importance of theme, and many other insights about craft. My goal is to have you come away inspired to write. My other section is a masterclass called Decoding the Craft and Business of Writing a Novel. I'll be co-teaching this one with Mark Parsons. He's the author of the 909 Project and other YA titles, and we are going to cover a lot. For the craft aspect of the class, we'll talk about and share tips on mastering things like voice and setting and plot. For the business aspect of it, we'll discuss how to find an agent, working with an editor, publishing finance, and how to research publishers that would be right for you and your work. We'll also do a quick AMA at the end of the session, so come prepared for that. I know we're all going to have a great time at StoryCon, and I'm sure looking forward to seeing you there.
All right, my question for you is, do you have a favorite young adult book in fantasy, sci-fi, historical nonfiction, or more? Did they come out sometime in the last couple of years? And if so, we want you to nominate them for a Teen Reader's Choice Award. Nominations open on August 19th, and this is an award that is made just for teens, nominated by teens, voted on by teens. And then that author is awarded at the Operation Literacy Gala at StoryCon, and you can visit storycon.org /vote for more information. So please go ahead and submit your nominations and vote for the TRCA Awards. I got Mary Taylor here. There's nothing Mary likes more than telling people StoryCon secrets with me.
No. Heather Clark. So I'm really sorry you guys are stuck with me again. If you watched any of the earlier segments, I was here before, but Heather,
best,
what are you
Mary.
talking about?
How I want to tell them everything, and how I had an educator come into my inbox this morning and she was like, can you tell me who's coming to the educator book banquet? And I was like, well, most of them are not confirmed yet, but I really want to tell them. Can I tell them? Like a few people, do you think maybe? Okay,
I
sorry.
mean,
Just hold on, Mary. Just hold on just for a second. Okay. Just kidding. I would never really shush Mary. But what I want to tell you is Jennifer A. Nielsen is coming to the secondary one, and her publisher, when we asked them if they would donate the books for the secondary book banquet, they said yes. And not only did they say yes, they said they're going to send her newest book, Free State of Jax. So you will be getting the new book.
Wait, can I qualify as
I
an
know,
educator?
right? Doesn't everyone on this launch stream right now want to buy an educator ticket?
I really want to be there. I love Jennifer Aniston. And yeah, we do have some pretty awesome.
We have some pretty big authors, right? Okay,
Yeah.
can I say one more for the secondary one?
Okay.
Okay, Soman Chainani is going to be there, the author of School for Good and Evil. I don't know which of his books you will receive, but do they know what the book banquet really looks like? Maybe we should tell
Yeah,
them.
no, let's explain it.
Let's talk
do
about it. Okay, Educator Book Banquet is pure joy on a platter, essentially. So what we have is 100 educators in a room, sitting at tables with a hot plated breakfast or lunch, depending on which one they're coming to. And then we have 11 authors come in, rotating through, speed dating with the teachers.
Well, not Heather.
We're not going to get married to the authors. Sorry, guys.
So dorky. Okay, no, but they get the opportunity to ask questions and chat, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we
do all
mean.
the networking.
It just will be
and-
really fast. That's where the speed part comes in.
Right. But we had a lot of authors and teachers make matches last year where they scheduled author visits for their schools, and a lot of the authors became friends, with the
Yeah.
teachers. And so we wound up having all of these educators and librarians who this is a really interesting thing not everyone knows. But when you're an author, your heroes are teachers and librarians. Especially if
That's
you're
true.
a children's author,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And like indie bookstore owners, but like teachers and librarians, they are my rock stars. But then for teachers and librarians, authors are their rock stars. And
Yeah.
so it's this amazing mix where every person at the table thinks that they are the luckiest person alive to be sitting there at that moment. And your author will pitch their new books, but Mary, tell them what's the most exciting thing at the end of the author book banquet.
I get to tell the most exciting thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that all of the educators get to go home with a copy of every single one of the authors, signed copy
hmm
of every single one of the authors' books
Yeah.
in the room. So
Yeah.
so at the end of the meal, they get to go home with a bag full of like 10 brand new books.
Yes, absolutely. 11 actually
11.
this year.
11.
11 books per meal, and there are 2 meals, and you can go to both. That's
Yeah.
the secret not everyone knows. So the first one is on Friday, and that is a lunch, and it's focused on elementary, and then the Saturday breakfast is focused on secondary, but that's a mix of YA and middle grade anyway. So you could go to either or both.
Okay,
But
so
they
are
really
the teachers still in school right now? They might be. So if you're watching this and you're not a teacher, but you know a teacher,
tell your teacher friends.
yeah, you should tell your teacher friends.
Let's talk about the general track, Mary. Like this is
Okay.
a big new beast this year. Like we had a general track. It's not even general. It's the adult
Adult
track, right?
yes.
So
Mhm.
last year we had a general track so that adults who had FOMO could come and go to all our keynotes. But why don't you talk a little bit about that
Yeah.
adult track?
I'm so excited about it because so I am an aspiring to be published one day author, right?
And she's a really good one.
You're sweet. Thank you. But I love learning and growing in my writing experience. And I also just love learning about story and about how to tell a narrative. I do that a lot for my job, for work. I also am consistently involved in storytelling on stage. I get the opportunity to help judge for the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards. And so it's so interesting how imperative storytelling is and understanding how to correctly share a story with an audience that's in a way that's going to resonate, right? And so anyway, the point is that we have a whole track full of authors and presenters who are going to teach about writing as an adult, right? So yes, we have this amazing teen track in which these teens get to go and they get to meet their heroes. I also, as an adult, get the opportunity to go and meet my heroes, hear about how story, can be created and how they particularly work on their story and work on their craft, and in so many different ways. And there's also going to be business related classes about if you are in the business of writing or storytelling, ways that you can market and make those networking connections and all of those very important things that if you want to do this as part of your your job, right? So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're really excited this year because the adults do have that full track. So it's just equivalent to the education that the teens are getting.
Yes.
And then also all of the wonderful keynotes, the featured authors, and the master classes. Wow, we have got some, okay, you guys. Mary has been working it. So Mary has got some amazing masterclass authors. I'm sure you can find those at storycon.org. But Mary, why don't you tell us a little bit about the authors who are available for masterclass add-ons?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. I think we've got a really great variety of masterclass teachers. So, goodness, where do I start? So, Libba Bray is one of our masterclass teachers. She is known for writing historical fiction. I've read several of her books, and she has one series that's called The Diviners that's um, written about the 1920s, which is a personal favorite of mine.
So is that historical fantasy?
It is historical. Well,
Wow. No,
it's
because I haven't read The Diviners. I've read A Great and
yes,
Terrible Beauty, which of course is
it's
fantasy.
fantasy, right?
Yeah.
And that's more of a Victorian era, right?
Right.
So the Diviners, it's got a paranormal bend to it, but
Okay.
it's not.
It's not
I would not
fantasy.
call it fantasy. No.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, it's really fun. So she's one. We also have Ali Kandi.
I'm so excited to learn from Allie. She's such a good
She
teacher
is
and a great
amazing.
author.
Yes, absolutely. We also have Nick Brooks.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I am such a fangirl of Nick
I
Brooks.
know.
Like he is so entertaining to watch present. He also is just his writing is brilliant.
It is brilliant.
And he has a needed voice in our community right now. But anyway, he's going to be so much fun.
And he writes on so many different genres. The thing that I'm most excited about Nick is that we have so many people. Like, one of the things Mary has pushed for consistently with StoryCon is that story is not only novels. Like, obviously we kind of, our core is writing books,
Right.
but we're expanding out, right, with songwriting and theater and all these different things. But with Nick, he brings games to the table because he has written for major video game platforms.
Yes.
He is a rapper. So storytelling through his art, right? Through he is I'm super excited. Also, having helped with the screenwriting for the Netflix special for Promise Boys, right? So
exactly.
you're looking at kind of the whole gamut if you're interested. And we have classes in that adult track. I feel like on having your book made into a movie, on writing for the screen, on writing music, on all different genres. But yeah, anyway,
exactly.
sorry.
No, that's what's so fun, and that's why we call it StoryCon, right? Because it's about all of the different ways we tell story. And at the core of all of those different ways is your writing skills, right?
Yes.
Unlike my grammar. Hello, that was bomb. But no,
She's our editor.
no, thank goodness. But anyway, but that's what's just so exciting about StoryCon. I think it's just all of the different ways that we can tell story. Also, another masterclass teacher that we are going to be having. We're going to have Sarah Eden.
Sarah Eden. Oh my goodness. And she's so prolific.
Yes.
And so respected in the romance and historical romance field.
And she's going to talk to us a little bit about conflict and raising the stakes, and
she's one of the better teachers I've learned from.
So I've taken one of her master classes in the past and it stuck with me, and that was years ago, and I still think about some of the things that I learned from her. And she's just seriously an amazing teacher. I really admire her. And she has great teaching skills. Oh goodness, help me out. Why am I blanking right now?
Well, you
Tell
know what
me.
is terrible is I seriously want to make you announce one of our other authors that we just found out about yesterday, but we're probably not allowed to, are we?
Oh goodness, I'm trying to think of who you're talking about. Oh, we can.
Can we announce it?
I mean,
we literally found out yesterday. Mary's going to be the one to spill the beans on a live stream.
yeah, I think it's on our website, so I think we can. So Denise Kiernan. Okay, I'm really excited for her. So she has such an interesting background. She was a former journalist. So she has done a lot of nonfiction writing, but she's also written fiction as well. And we have had consistent requests at the end of Teen Author Bootcamp and at the end of StoryCon from kids, teens, and adults who are interested in learning about writing nonfiction and specifically journalism, right? And so I'm really excited that she's going to be joining us because I think she's going to bring another area of storytelling that is so important that will hopefully just be one more added opportunity for you guys to learn about storytelling and how important the narrative is in even journalism.
100%. My husband was a journalist for many years, and I know that probably a lot of people can see what a shift we've had with journalism and what constitutes journalism these days, and kind of the different kinds of platforms that content creation and all of that bring into it. But I am super excited to learn from someone who is kind of a master at that. And I want our young people and our rising up writers to know how to tell those kinds of stories.
Totally.
I'm so glad you have your phone there, because
I
I was
know.
blanking on the rest of
And
our
I'm-
master classes too. So I'm like, go to storycon.org.
And also I'm like, oh, I don't want to mention some of them
I
without
know.
mentioning them
know.
all, but because
They do want us to
one thing
transition.
that anybody who knows me knows that unfortunately my memory is a sieve, and it will just fall
Well,
straight through the
You
cracks.
just don't get to be our age, right, Mary? Are you just 25 or 27? Holy cow.
Yeah.
Just say the other ones.
So Trisha Levenseller, I can't believe
Oh my gosh, you guys
I'm
are
an
going to
idiot.
die. She's such a good teacher.
She is such a good teacher. She's actually one of the very first writing classes that I ever took. I took from her. Isn't that crazy?
I think I've learned from all of these authors.
Yep. Okay. We mentioned that
Who did we
her
not
and her
mention?
Liva. I think that's it, actually.
Okay, well, we're
Trisha
so
was
good.
the last
Our
person that
memories
I
rule. We're so good at this.
I don't know.
Anyway, we're thrilled. Please sign up for master classes, but we also have been given the sign from the other room that it's time for us to transition so that we
Okay.
can talk about our next guest.
And I'm
So
gonna
I'm gonna let
duck
Mary
out.
go. Thanks for gossiping with me, Mary. I really liked it. The
You made me
StoryCon-
spill the beans.
So,
It's
yeah,
fine.
We're so excited to see you guys at StoryCon. So our next guest is Serene Heiner. We love Serene Heiner. She is an amazing writer and also one of the funnest people I know. I'm super glad that I get to mentor today's guide. There you are.
She is such a good teacher.
Now.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Serene Heiner, how are you?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
I can. Okay.
Fantastic. Serene, would you just tell us a little bit about you and your book?
Oh, well, I'm Serene Heiner. I'm mostly known for my social media account, Magical Book Nook. It's the weird videos. I fall over things and my eyebrows are very expressive apparently. So that's how people remember me. So I write young adult fantasy. I signed with a literary agent earlier this year. So right now my books are sort of in progress, but I have a house full of teenagers. So right now I feel like YA is just really my jam.
That is amazing. And Serene, in addition to being a great author who's willing to come on here today and talk to us about coming to StoryCon, you also were part of our amazing programming last year. And you were, if anyone was at StoryCon last year, you probably recognize Serene from her amazing main stage shenanigans with Shelley Brown as they ran our teen stuff. So they know what's up.
The kids were so cute last year. So one of the other people on the committee, Megan Clemens, she came up to me later and she goes, I don't know what was happening on the main stage, but I think somebody thought I was you, because I had a couple of kids come up and give me a big hug and say, we think you're funny. And I had no idea what they were talking about.
You're like,
And I was like,
I feel that I'm funny. Look at my eyebrows.
it was pretty cute.
That's awesome. Serene, why don't you give us a little taste of what your class will be like this year at StoryCon? Because I know that you do have that social media prowess, and I think it's going to be really incredible for people to learn from you. People like me who maybe don't like social media and don't have the best eyebrows, but just tell us all about it.
Well, I don't think I've actually been told what class I'm teaching, but if I am teaching a class on social media,
I believe that you are. I believe that you are teaching social media, but do I have to?
Okay. Yes. Here's the funny thing about authors is I have found that the majority of them are terrified of social media, of putting themselves out there, of being on camera. They will write the words, but they don't want to show their face. And so my class is really all about how to build a platform, but how to also be authentic and true to yourself. Because here's the thing, if you absolutely hate what you do, you're not going to do it, right? So
Yeah.
we kind of go over how to be authentic, different ways you can make posts, how to build community, because at the end of the day, especially in today's world, people are very invested in authors, not just their books, but the authors as a person. I know it seems to stress a lot of people out.
The stress of that, for me is that I want to, like, okay, you want to see into my world? Okay, there's a big mess of rocks on my floor because I like crystals. Like, is that what they want to see?
Yes, it actually is, because there's going to be somebody out there that goes, "Oh my gosh, me too," or "I don't know anything about this." People are very fascinated by authors' lives, and so we just kind of discuss how you can tap into that and build a community, because I think people like not only to be invested in authors' lives, but they also want to feel seen as a reader. And so you kind of learn how you can tap into your readers and how to build that community so that they're invested in you and in your stories, and just kind of, yeah, just different ways that you can leverage social media.
Okay, so I want to know, Serene, like, what's the weirdest thing you've ever told someone about yourself on social media?
Oh,
Just kidding. You don't really have to do that, but I'm just saying, like, what kind
well,
of stuff do you give in your social media so they can know
I
about your
I
life?
actually, okay, here is one weird thing I did do for a video. I stuck a spoonful of cat food in my mouth.
You did.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
I really did. And everybody was like, I didn't think she would do it. I didn't think she would do it. Because then I pretend like I'm chewing, even though I wasn't actually chewing the cat food. People were freaking out. They were like, "Oh my gosh, you ate the cat food." I'm like, I didn't,
You know,
but
that's really funny, Serene, is that I put on my social media when I was getting my book together. I had on my social media that I was eating an onion because someone in my Pitch Wars class dared me to eat an onion on screen. And I was like, okay, I'll do it because I had a really bad head cold. And so I couldn't taste it at all anyways. But I did that, and she was an artist, and her response was that she would paint, she would do a drawing for me if I would do this. And she was a really great artist. So she did this drawing of my character, but at the bottom she just wrote lemon drops because I didn't have a title for my book. And that is how my book title came to be, because she drew. But anyways, so like if you do the dumb social media thing, maybe sometimes like you'll get this cool title for your book.
that is amazing. Honestly, the bookish community, the bookish world is pretty cool. There are a lot of really neat people out there, and I think sometimes I just want to take a cute little author who's like, "Oh, I'm boring," or "I'm not pretty," or "I'm not funny." And I'm like, "Okay, let's try to strip that away for a second." And because everybody has something to offer, because everyone's unique, right? Just like their story. And so I try to help authors say, don't think about how can I grow a platform? How can I get people to follow me? It's about, I have this really cool thing to offer you. And so if you can switch your mind around from like, "Oh my gosh, people are going to watch me, people are going to see me, da da da," to I made this thing and it could be what you need. I did this for you as my ideal reader. So I'm going to tell you about my book. I'm going to tell you about my process. I'm going to tell you about my world, because I am proud of this thing that I made and I want to share it with you.
Oh,
So
I love that.
it's just a little bit of a mind shift game when it
Well,
comes to authors and social media.
I'm already excited to come to your class, Serene. I really hope I have time to do that. You know how StoryCon was last time. I didn't go to any classes, but I really want to this year. But actually, I hear that our next guest is here. So, do you have any
Okay.
final, like, parting words for
No,
our
I
young
just,
ladies?
authors are brave. And so, especially when it comes to social media, just carry that bravery through to that, because people want to see you, people want to know you.
I love
So,
that. Okay. Well,
okay.
thank you, Serene. I'm so excited to see your face now, and I'm so excited to see you when you come to StoryCon.
All
So,
right. Love you, Heather.
we'll see you then. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
You guys, we have got, like, it's like an embarrassment of riches around here today. I don't even know what to do. We have got Sarah B. Larson coming in 3 seconds, apparently, according to the fingers being poked at me. She is coming on right now, and we have got best-selling author Sarah B. Larson. Hi, Sarah B. Larson.
Hi,
How are you doing?
good. How are you?
So good. I just want to say before you get started, Guys, Sarah is one of the best teachers. She's so incredible. And I know that you may already be in love with her books, but in addition to that, we're so lucky to have her coming to StoryCon. She's a major fan favorite. And also, just every time that I get to learn from her, I got to learn from her at summer camp, StoryCon summer camp this year. And she's just so fantastic. Sarah, would
Oh,
you just
thank
tell us a
you.
little bit about you and your books?
Yeah, so I'm Sarah B. Larson. I'm the author of 7 young adult fantasy series you can see up here. The Defy trilogy, Dark Breaks of Dawn duology, and the Sisters of Shadow and Night duology. Sisters of Shadow and Light. Did I say my own title wrong? I just said my own title wrong. I also have a new book coming out this October, so it'll be out for StoryCon, called A Promised Vengeance. It's a fantasy reimagining of the Count of Monte Cristo with a female main character, so I'm super excited about that.
I didn't realize it was a female main character. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Would you like to give us just a little taste of what you're going to be offering in terms of your class at StoryCon? As far as I understand, you are teaching about fairy tales, myths, and folklore. And then also there's one called Don't Go Wasting Your Emotions, which, that's a fun line.
Yeah, which ironically, I was just at an ABBA revival concert last night. So for those of you who don't go wasting your emotions, yeah, the ABBA line, right? But yeah, so it's a class on emotions and using emotion to help, really connect your readers to your characters. But it's really kind of a tricky balance to make sure that your characters have realistic emotions, that you portray them realistically, that you are describing them in a way that's engaging and helps your reader to feel those emotions, but without having it become overly dramatic or unrealistic or not really matching the character that you've created. So there's a lot that goes into it. So we'll go into depth about that and just how you can use emotion to really take your book to the next level, but make sure that you're doing it in the most effective way possible.
That's incredible. And as far as your fairy tales, myths, and folklore class, is that just a whole?
I write books that are, some of them are based on other stories, like Dark Breaks of Dawn is a fantasy reimagining of the Swan Lake kind of, ballet, plus some of the other stories that have come from that. Obviously, Count of Monte Cristo is based on, Promised Vengeance is based on the Count of Monte Cristo. There's just elements of different fairy tales and things in a lot of my books. And I love researching into all that kind of stuff and seeing how that can influence your writing and your stories, even if you're not doing like a full-on retelling or anything. But those have a way of finding their way into our world and into our books and into our stories and even into like the phrases that we use and stuff. So it's just fun to delve into that.
I love that. And I am actually really excited for your class because I'm working on a gender flipped retelling of Cyrano de Bergerac right now. So I think that would be fun.
Very exciting.
That would be very helpful for me.
Yeah.
Is there any tip that you would want to give to young authors, or I guess our adults too, because we've got a whole adult track at StoryCon this year too, but something you wish you had known when you started?
Oh boy, honestly, my advice has changed over the years because I used to tell writers that you needed to write every single day and just get into the habit of that. And I do still think that that can be valid advice, but it doesn't work for everybody. And over the course of my career, how the way I write and my method of writing and all that has had to change. It changes with stages of life that you're in, the time that you have available, how much creativity you have in your bucket, right? So I would say my advice now is to, yes, make sure that you're sitting down and writing, but also make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do to fill that creative well, because that was something that I kind of let go by the wayside. I was working so hard and writing and trying to hit all these deadlines and selling books and promoting and all this stuff that I wasn't doing the things that helped fill my creative well anymore. And all of a sudden it went dry, and it went dry for a long time. Like it took a while to recover. And so, yeah, I was working, thinking I was getting ahead, but ultimately it ended up making me get behind, but just, I really struggled for like 2 years because I was so burned out. And so, yes, I think it's so important to like go to conferences like this because it helps inspire you. You learn what you need to be doing. It helps you to accomplish your goals, but also whatever just helps inspire you to want to create. If that's watching a movie, if it's going for a
Yeah.
walk, if it's being out in nature, if it's making a playlist, like there's so many different things you can do to help fill that creative well. And when that's full, then that helps you get through. Yes, I'm on a deadline, so I have to write every day. Or yes, I have this goal, so here's A, B, and C that I'm going to do to accomplish it. But yeah, just make sure that we don't burn ourselves out as creatives, because we have to have that to make our best art.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you talked about that. So are you excited about StoryCon?
I'm so excited. Yes, I love this conference. It's amazing.
Okay, well, we are thrilled to have you back. I know that our teen and adult authors are going to be so thrilled to learn from you, as I always am. So, Sarah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you,
We
Heather.
are about to talk about educators with one of our educator guests. So we'll say goodbye to Sarah. Thank you,
Awesome.
Sarah.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good one. Guys, I'm so lucky today. I'm going to be joined by Kathy Hess, who is just one of my favorite people. I got to meet her last year when she came to StoryCon for the first time with a group of students that she brought. But real quick, before she gets in here, because I can see that she's just getting mic'd up and heading on in, I just want to talk to you about a couple of key things that are available for educators this year and for their classrooms at StoryCon. 4 things that I just want to mention. First, you want to go to storycon.org/school group if you want to access the success packet that we put together. It's an educator success toolkit. And there are resources there right now that can help you get successfully with your students to StoryCon. And we are adding things every day. There are going to be all kinds of things from master teachers, and Kathy Hess actually has been a really instrumental in helping us create this success kit, as well as our educator program director, Amy Hall. And we have got pre-written letters to your administrators, to your foundations. We've got stuff for how to get funding, for how to promote StoryCon to your students, for how to get them excited, for how to make StoryCon something that is part of your whole year. Something that I just wanted to tell you, and I'm so thrilled to talk about this. But last year, Weber School District sent 12 schools to StoryCon. They sent maybe between 10 and 20 kids to each from each school. And when we got back, we asked them to go check their library circulation numbers from the month before StoryCon to the month after StoryCon. And those library circulation numbers were so incredible because they went up 45% averaged across those schools, across those 12 schools, 45% increase in book checkouts. And that is because we had students who were coming back from StoryCon, grabbing their friends, and then dragging them into the library because their love for books was just so great. So anyway, waiting for Kathy. Yay, she's here now. Okay, so we'll talk about that just another minute. Welcome, Kathy. She's coming right on over. All right. So we've got Kathy Hess. I'm so happy to be here with my friend Kathy, who I was just talking about. And I was just telling them about our educator success toolkit that we're working on for this year so that they can have an easier time with all the things that you've already kind of invented and Amy has invented and other educators.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, let me just let Kathy talk to you a little bit about the experience of bringing students and being an educator here.
You bet. I'm going to allude to a story that you basically kind of inferred just a little while ago. And this story is one that I heard quite a while ago, decades ago when I was in college. But there was a young lady that was on a bus. And in order to pass the time, she decided she had grabbed a book and decided to read a book. As she was reading, she recognized, this book just really doesn't do it for me. So as she was continuing to read, there was a gentleman that came on the bus and sat down next to her and started to engage her in conversation. Conversation being as he looked, and he goes, what are you reading? And she showed the book to him, and to which she replied, then I'm just really not that interested. And he goes, oh, okay. Tell me a little bit about why not. And so she did, expanded a little bit. And then he looked at her and said, I wrote that book. I'm the author of that book. One can only imagine her feelings as she tried to backpedal, right? But they sat and then engaged, missing several stops along the way, in a conversation where he told her a little bit about why he wrote the book, the feelings that he had as he was writing the book, the characters in the book. And after about 30 minutes of a conversation, he gave her his phone number, his address, and said, just drop me a line when you're done. And to which she did. After she finished the book, and the letter said something to the effect of, this was the most fascinating book that I have read.
Oh.
And then the reason being is because she knew the author. And I think that's what we find more often than not, that students who say that they don't like to read just don't know the author.
That's
don't
really
know the background.
interesting. One of my best friends, well, almost all of my best friends are authors. And I think part of what happens is I fall in love with their books and then I know them. I know something
Absolutely.
deep and core about them, and that makes me love them.
Yeah, absolutely.
interesting.
So, with that in mind, as a teacher, looking at kids that come into a room, and this has happened from numerous teachers who have vocalized it as well, that they'll get a student who has, even in high school, who will come back and say, you know what, this is the first book that I have ever began and finished, which melts a teacher's heart. We are so excited. But part of that is the fact that kids really do just need to know a little background, the reason why it was written, who it's being written for, and that sparks interest. So that's one of the things that StoryCon does, is provides a background for these students of authors and of books that they may never have had an opportunity to engage in before. Okay. So that is really interesting. They get to discover, students when they go, discover style of authors. They discover genre that they may not have even engaged in before. The reading benefits are surpass what they have previously been engaged in. They're excited. When students come out of StoryCon, there is an exuberance and it's contagious.
Right? They grab their friends and drag them to books, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I must admit, just being on the background of this committee now, watching the energy between you as workers and as committee members and as volunteer, it has to be contagious. So
We're pretty passionate about kids and books.
absolutely. And it readily shows. One of the things that the students often mention too is that these authors are normal. They're just normal, which in teenage lingo often is converted to they're genuine.
Right. Right. I could hang out with them. We could talk.
Yeah. And
They might
listen-
understand me.
Right.
Right.
Right. And they speak to students' hearts. And that's what is penetrating and magnetizing
Love
for
that.
these kids with these authors as well. The authors avail themselves to these kids on levels that they will never get just in a classroom setting. They are more than willing to give out their personal email addresses, their website information, whatever is needed. They truly are interested in the craft of a student and a to-be writer.
When I attended my first StoryCon, it was as a debut author, and I also had just been asked to help run the tween program for Operation Literacy, and I was nervous about it. It was going to be a big lift, and I didn't know, how that was going to go and fit into my life. And I came home from that conference, and I just looked at my husband and I said, I will never, ever miss this conference ever again. Because what was so amazing, I've been to other writing conferences, I've done book signings, but sitting there for an hour and a half at the end of this day, teaching was wonderful, but sitting there at the end of the day while these kids brought me their backpack or their program or whatever to sign, and looking into their faces and telling them that their stories mattered and telling them that the things that they were writing mattered. And for some odd reason, because my name was on the cover of a book, it was like they believed me in ways that I didn't believe my parents when I was growing up, and it was just this magical gift and kind of a sacred trust, I think, to be able to connect with kids in that way. And I know the authors feel that way. We had one of our authors, he was one of our keynotes one year. He went away and he said, I will be back next year. I don't need keynote credit. I will be there to show every other author in this community what a privilege it is to interact with these kids, right? And now that we've got our adult track, for the adults too, you know?
And that is this, it is a sacred honor.
It is.
And I think one of the things as teachers too, and especially as a new year starts, you've got new students and no idea which of those kids honestly are writers at heart. I was amazed at how many students came up that I'm writing a book, or I write poetry, or I've got the first chapter, or they're writers. They are writers at heart. And with the system, we're individuals that connect, right? We are individuals that want a sense of belonging. And so you get a conference like this where students are truly finding a place of belonging and excitement, enthusiasm to perfect a craft.
I love it.
Incredible.
I know you had a story about some of your kids in one of the contests.
Yes, yes. One of our students, Marlise, she, after StoryCon was over with, StoryCon had initiated a contest. And so she was one of many that had gone in and contributed to it and was one of 6, 7, 8 who won. They got to go to the governor's mansion. First Lady Mrs. Cox was there.
It was so great.
It
That was such a good day.
wonderful.
You know what? I have been told
Incredible.
it's time for us to sign off. I'm going to
Sounds
give you
good.
3 really quick things before you go. So go check these out on storycon.org. First of all, check out our contest at storycon.org/contests and publications. I think it's just /contests, but look at the contest and publication opportunities. Also, look for teachers, go look for those SUU credits. When you sign up for your educator ticket, you'll get an email right back that tells you about the SUU credits you can sign up for, up to 5 credits, graduate credits that can help you with your step and lane changes, and just with StoryCon can help with your personal professional development. And then in addition, sign up for that book banquet. I'm not allowed to tell you all the authors because we have almost confirmed them all, but you will go away from one of those meals with 11 signed copies of books from all these amazing authors, and it's incredible. Okay, my job now is to tell you, thank you, Kathy, for joining us today, for being
And
one of the amazing educators who bring students to StoryCon. And also, just we're signing off now. We will be back in just a moment with our next host.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm so excited to join the launch stream. Do you know that's what it's called? It's not a live stream. It's a launch
okay.
stream.
Everyone's going to be using this phrase, this term from now on.
Well, we're really lucky to have. My phone is going off.
What is that?
I don't know what's happening.
I thought that was Eric.
That was hilarious. So
Eric
I'm starting.
behind the scenes.
I'm off to a great
Don't worry.
start. Everybody's
This is truly live. Live theater launch stream.
Everyone's thrilled that I am our host right now, but they are thrilled because I get the privilege of interviewing the incredible #1 New York Times best-selling author of so many wonderful books. I have my favorites, though, I have to say, of Catherine Purdy. So thank you for coming. The crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes wild. I'm imagining it.
So
My one super fan out there is like, wow.
Well, I'm excited to make them and a lot of other people's day because you don't hit that list without having a few fans, Catherine Purdy. It's a big deal.
Yeah. This is where I'm like, I want to hide and curl up, but it's okay. I'm gonna be like, yes, I am awesome.
Yes.
And you're all like privileged to hear from me.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well,
no, I'm very grateful to be here though for the cause of StoryCon, this amazing conference.
Thank you.
And this amazing lady that's the mastermind behind it all.
One of many. But honestly, Catherine is somebody near and dear to my heart because I want to like squish you and get in your lap.
I was like, can we hug now?
Can we just hug? But I think that before we go in and talk about you and your career and everything else, I need to make a little announcement because this is the StoryCon launch stream. We have a ticket update. We have sold over 1,000 tickets now to StoryCon on our day one. We're at 1,096 tickets, which is
this
just
a record
incredible.
for you guys? A day one record?
Day one record blows away our past record.
Wow.
In fact, at our greatest days of TABC, at the height of our TABC numbers, we never broke 1,000. We came really close.
Really?
So just in a day one to do over 1,000 is just kind of
super happy.
What it means is people are reading, people are responding to the story. That's why it exists. But I want to talk about you, Catherine Purdy.
Oh.
Tell us more about your books. Give us the landscape of what you write,
Okay.
and then I'll talk about your books.
Well, I write young adult fantasy, and that is my passion. I am still 17 at heart. Don't try to guess my age by my wrinkles. I'm still a teenager in here, and that's why I write what I write. Those stories are timeless and enduring for me, and I feel like fantasy is actually just as important as like contemporary, modern, serious books. It's like a filter for us to greater understand like tougher subjects or empathize with characters that if it were so black and white and literal in front of us in a more contemporary kind of way, we might like put up armor against it, and we have a more open mind about connecting with characters in fantasy.
I love that.
That's
so
why I
much.
love it. Yeah.
Do you know, I actually was just listening to a podcast yesterday from, and I can't remember even who the guest speaker was, but it was an executive from Bain Capital. And she was saying of fantasy, she said, if I want to understand the culture that I'm trying to do business in, I read their most acclaimed fantasy. And that, because it's such a reflection of society and ideals and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, that in our next episode,
if you're on a school board,
we will talk about
don't deny your students fantasy and fiction,
Please.
because there's been more push towards like only nonfiction lately, and I feel like fiction and fantasy are so important.
So important.
Yeah.
Well, and let's talk about your fantasy.
Okay.
I know your most recent series that you've been working in is The Forest Grimm.
Yes.
Which she looks so kind and angelic and sweet, but she's
my fantasies are
ruthless.
dark. Not dark like in a
Inappropriate way or anything like that.
Just dark, like people die
it's called
sometimes or scary things happen.
It's called The
so-
Forest Grimm, right?
Yeah,
And
like Brothers Grimm
Yes.
fairy tales are the dark ones. I set out a goal to like make them darker and more romantic.
Yeah,
So,
and she succeeds in
Yeah.
this goal. It really is so good. And I was scared a few times.
Oh, that
I was
makes me
actually
happy.
genuinely scared, which is so fun. And I have to say that horror, even though I wouldn't classify these books
it's
as horror,
gothic, which is more like a romanticized horror.
but
yeah.
that idea of being afraid while we read, that's a
Yeah.
very like intoxicating, attractive thing, especially for young readers. They love scary books. They love
Yes.
it. So
Yes.
Maybe that's why she's a #1 New York Times bestseller or
And
something
I'm
like that.
actually a real sissy in real life. Like my husband likes the really scary horror movies, and I'm like, you can go see this with your brothers. But I like gothic. It's sort of like my
Well, it's an
yeah, like my
intellectual
bridge.
horror, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
it's
know.
more- that's what it's more erudite, just a little bit stronger.
It's
No,
beautiful horror.
Yeah,
I
it
like the
is.
beauty in it. I don't
it
know.
is. Well, I feel like gothic horror or gothic literature in general is a lot more symbolic. There's a lot. It's a lot more thought provoking, in my
Yeah.
opinion, instead of the slasher,
Mhm.
experience. But
Little
anyway, in
psychological.
our third podcast, we will be talking about that because I
But
feel like
but just while we're talking about it for
Yeah.
a second, so we don't have to circle back to it later.
Yeah.
I am teaching a class
That's
about
true.
how to write gothic literature.
I think the class is
So-
actually called Oh My Goth.
Yeah.
And that's a window into Catherine's soul. She is just awesome that way.
It's a fun class. It's a fun way to learn. It's actually one of my favorite classes to
Yeah.
teach. So you should come, even if you don't think, because some people think like, well, I'm not going to write a gothic novel, but lots of books still bring in like elements of it for a scene, or or just part, or just just learning about all
Right.
kinds of stories helps you across the board. So
I completely agree. And if you haven't taken a class from Catherine Purdy before, you are in for a treat because she really is so intelligent. And all joking aside, she may be a sissy and she may write about scary things. She's a great teacher, and I've learned a lot from you. And the thing about StoryCon that's so unique, I think, is, we are so lucky that we're surrounded by so many amazing, generous, gracious authors who really, Catherine Purdy should be keynoting at whatever event that she goes to. So you're going to get a keynote-worthy presenter out of Catherine Purdy. She's wonderful. So
I overthink and overprepare for everything. So my classes are overthought and overprepared. I try to give my very best because I love you guys and I love teaching. And I live here in Utah, but I just went on vacation to Florida recently, and I went to this really kind of small bookstore on the fringes of Orlando. I mean, it's like an awesome bookstore, but it's a small bookstore,
like a little indie bookstore.
But I tried to advertise that I was coming out and doing this like book signing, and this girl drove like an hour and a half to see me, and where she had met me was Teen Author Boot Camp and
Oh,
StoryCon.
That makes me so happy.
And I was like, wow, like everything comes full circle. And her mom drove her there, and she was just so enthusiastic, and
Oh
we
my
talked for a
gosh.
long time, but it just made me feel like really good about just even that one interaction. And it's like really times like thousands because of the
The-
influence
the
that goes on
ripple.
and on through all the good work you guys do. But it felt amazing.
It really is a
So,
privilege to get to work with these aspiring minds, right? And not
Yeah.
aspiring minds, but aspiring writers and budding
Yes,
minds. I think
yes.
when you work with a teen or a tween specifically, they're at such an impressionable age, and they will carry those memories. They'll hold on to them, and it has the potential to be very transformative in their life. For some of these kids, they decide in that moment, like, maybe I could write a book.
yeah.
Maybe I have ideas that other people might find interesting
Yeah.
and worthy. And so I think it's powerful. And so Catherine, the reason why I want to squish her and just like just get rid
Let's
of this
just do it.
separation. Let's just do it. So Catherine,
Our microphones are big.
so Catherine, the thing about Catherine that is just so like why she'll have my heart forever is from I know you weren't there our very first year or two, but it was close. Like you've come to our events. I want to say at least for
2015 or 2016
yeah,
onward.
so a decade, just a
So,
mere
yeah,
decade.
that's all.
and just the level of just what she brings to these events is just incredible. So thank you, Catherine. We really
Well,
appreciate
and
you.
it's just one of the most important conferences ever. If we're calling it a conference, that sounds like serious and boring. It's so much fun.
It's a convention.
But like
It's
the energy is so good there.
Yeah, it's
And
fun.
because sometimes I'll teach at other conferences, which I love, but like you kind of walk away feeling like drained, like
Right.
it just sucked it all out of you. And you feel this I can't say words now. If I was at home, I would look it up and spell
it
correct.
would be
Reciprocity?
reciprocity.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Rarely am I the one that finds the word. I just want to point that out.
Sometimes I'm like, I know how to type it. How do I pronounce it? When you were too like locked in our rooms writing books. You know what I mean? Like it feels, it all goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Well, and it's a
So-
guileless experience too, I
Yeah.
feel. Like as an author, I know I've gone and attended a lot of different events, conventions and conferences and they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful, but there is a little bit of a sense that I don't know, I guess the altruism is what I'm missing. I
Yeah.
love feeling like anyway, I love feeling like
Yes.
I'm helping people. You know,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
an honor. So
Yeah.
so what's next for you in your career right now? Like what are you working on and give us
There
the
is
skinny.
something in the works, but it's like a couple weeks out from being announced. So,
Oh. So
but
you're just
the-
gonna tell
this mind is
just-
still
just us.
working.
Just kidding. No, it's okay.
And maybe it has to do with maybe I sold another duology, maybe it's young adult fantasy, maybe it has to do with Greek mythology, my true love.
Oh my goodness.
And that's all I can say about that.
So when we bring Rick Riordan next year, you're gonna sit on panel with him because
yes,
you'll be
I'll
ready.
be like, hey you.
Yeah, that sounds perfect to me. I'm really excited about this.
Thank
well,
you.
if it is a young adult fantasy that happens to be inspired by Greek mythology, I think we're in for a
It's
treat.
heavily.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm trying to yeah.
Good job.
But
Good
it's
self-control.
Okay, here's a really quick thing I will say about it is that I wrote it 12, 13 years ago. So never give up on your book babies. And sometimes, you know, especially when you're starting young and you're like,
Yeah.
you always, I feel like when you write and your dream is publication, you dream that whatever you're writing is going to sell, even if
Yeah.
you're 15, 16 and writing it then or older, you know, and it's never wasted, even in the fact that it can be, you know, like we learn from it, but it could still be published, traditionally published, or however you want to publish it
Yeah.
one day. And this book
Was this an original? Like
didn't sell.
It's been on the shelves for you for a bit?
Yeah,
Oh my
for 12,
goodness.
13 years. And it's like the people that know me and my like critique partners of many years, like it's their favorite book of mine, but like the market and probably honestly my talent, you know, back then I hadn't sold anything back
It can
then
be
when
a
I
great
tried.
idea. Mhm.
But we kind of felt like now was the right time for it with the market. So I did go back and I spent several months like making it, the writing the best, you know, because you hope like, you know, I felt good about the original manuscript, but you hope that you continue to learn and get
Right.
better. And so never give up. You just never know.
Do you know what? That's so
Yeah.
funny because my last book, it was the same thing. It was the book that I didn't sell that had been sitting on the shelves for, you know, the proverbial, you know, shelf.
In
that
our
one.
computer, in our
Yeah,
laptop.
and that was the one that I ended up winning awards with and doing other things with. So
Wow.
it's just, you
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
I am
Believe in
supposed-
yourself.
Yes, believe in yourself. Believe in Catherine Purdy and go and read her because she's pretty amazing. And I am reading something now.
We're reading something
I was
now.
just told that I'm reading something. Oh my goodness, this is a great one. No, after she leaves, I'm reading
Oh,
something.
rude.
I
I see what y'all think about me now. I don't get to hear what she reads. I get it.
But what I'm about to read pertains to Catherine Purdy, so it's perfect.
But I can't be in here?
No,
Okay.
you don't get to be.
All right.
It's-
Well,
it's
I
the-
love you all. I hope, hey, if you haven't done it yet, sign up.
Go
Come.
register.
You get to meet me. You get to meet her. You get to learn from a lot of amazing people, make
Tons.
friends,
Yes.
enhance your skills, build your dreams. Let's do this. Okay.
Change the world with Catherine Purdy. I love you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate
Love you
coming,
too.
making
See
that
you.
drive. I wish that you could stay in here with me. Oh no!
Yeah.
You can just plug it.
unplugged something.
It's okay.
Someone
just
come
plug.
back.
It's good. It's just a light.
Okay.
We're in
All
business.
right. My theater. Bye.
So I look at this camera as I read. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Do you have a favorite young adult book in fantasy, sci-fi, historical fiction, or more? Did they come out sometime in the last couple of years? Then we want you to nominate them for the Teen Reader's Choice Award. Nominations open on August 19th. This is the award that is made just for teens. Teens vote for the winner, then that author is awarded at the Operation Literacy Gala at StoryCon. So visit storycon.org/vote for more information. And that really is a fun program. If you haven't participated in it before, and you have a teen or you yourself are a teen, definitely point them in this direction, because just like I said before, it's very rare that teens actually get the opportunity to have sway in a national book award. So that is awesome. I'm really excited to introduce our next guest. I am going to welcome Heather Nichols, who is an influencer and a presenter coming to StoryCon 2026. So, and it looks like while she's just coming in, we're going to pause because I don't want to, here she is. She's coming. Hello.
Hello.
Are you all mic'd up and ready to go here?
I believe so. Can you hear me? Maybe, possibly.
Can you hear her? Yeah, we're good. Heather.
Going this.
Yeah, come around here, because
Okay.
this is a gauntlet that you
Very
don't want to fall into.
No, I
It's
don't
so
want to-
nice to
It's
meet
nice to meet you too.
I've had a chance to do a little bit of digging about you.
Oh, good. I love it.
I have so first of all, you're most known for your Instagram account, I feel.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I started doing, well, my family and friends got really tired of hearing about all the things I wanted to share. So I started my own Instagram account just for books and bookish things and bookish joy and connecting with authors. And it's just grown and it's been super fun. And there's a million amazing, wonderful people out there who have the same likes and tastes and dislikes and love of reading and love of literacy. And I just love being able to connect with all of that.
I think that's so interesting. And I love, I know as a reader myself, I'm constantly, when you finish reading a book, you have this void in your life. They call it book hangover, or
Yes.
Whatever. And you have this void in your life. And I turn to influencers and other people that I trust to tell me what to read next, because I don't want to feel this way anymore. you
Right.
know?
And like, did you feel the same way?
Yes.
And like, how did this make you feel? Or sometimes it evokes such memories, and other times you're just, does this really happen in other parts of the world? Like, this is such an injustice. I mean, there's so many, every gamut can be experienced through a book. You can time travel, you can go to another country, you can, all those things just by turning the pages of a book. And
I agree completely. That's why, and let's face it, especially, so tell me which genres you prefer before I go too far down a rabbit hole that
I will
introduced.
read anything and everything. And I usually have 4 or 5 books going at one time.
Really?
So I always have to have like a couple audiobooks, but they can't be the same genre, because then I might get the story
Wait.
confused.
You can listen to 2 different audiobooks at one time and
Well,
keep the stories
like a couple
together.
chapters here and a couple chapters there, not like one in each year.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Okay.
I
Yes.
wasn't assuming that, but still, that's really
Yes.
interesting. So why do you prefer to read or listen that way?
Because sometimes I wake up and I really want to I want to listen to a romance. And then there's times where I'm like, I think today's a really good day for a murder book. I need a thriller.
I want to kill somebody today.
Yeah, I need a thriller, and we're gonna jump into the middle of this book and see. And other times I want to escape everything and jump into historical fiction, into a world that I've not been able to experience myself.
Yeah.
And then there's other times when I feel like today's the day I'm going to build an empire and I'm going to kick butt and I'm going to jump into a fantasy. And then there's times I need a lot of comfort and the world is feeling really stressful. And that is definitely when I hit the middle grade.
The middle grade. Yeah,
So
that's great.
I know that
and
no
middle
matter
grade
what,
audio is so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And I know when I hit that, nothing bad, it's all going to work out.
Mhm.
This is all going to be okay. And it's short. I can get the whole scope of things. Most middle grades are 6 hours if you listen at 1 time speed, which I don't. So
What speed do you listen at?
I
'Cause
started
I'm a listener.
2.5 to 3.
Oh my gosh!
But there's some platforms that I listen on and they don't go that high in speed. So then there's
Okay,
2.
the reason why they don't go that high in speed is because that is like lightning fast. So you consume books ad nauseum. Like you can get through them.
Yes.
I'm impressed by that.
I
That
love
actually
it.
is a great skill.
The slower it goes, the more my mind wanders and I have all
Mhm.
these other things going on in my head and I don't pay
Yeah.
attention. But my most comfortable is 2.5 speed.
Wow.
And then I have to listen. I have to pay attention to keep
Yeah.
what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to be worried about whatever thing I think I need to worry about.
Well, I just think about the amount of information that you can ingest in that amount of time and what a
Right.
gift that would be. Especially, anyway, I listen to audiobooks at like a 1.2 or 1.3. And I have people that say, why are they talking so fast? And I'm just like, so that's really fast. That's so cool.
It's different if you listen with an earbud than if you listen like over a speaker.
Okay.
If you listen over a speaker, it has to be slowed down. An earbud just gets
You're
you
like locked in.
different.
So that is crazy cool. And I love the whole evolution of the work that you're doing as an influencer. I love that StoryCon is inviting influencers to come
I know, so
and
exciting.
and participate. So
Well, and what a great way for us to work together with authors and to be able to bridge that gap because we love books. They are making books.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we work together to make it so more and more people can find their books?
I love it. I love it
So-
so much. So which author at StoryCon are you the most excited to meet? And I mean, we have over 100 authors that will be in attendance, but we've only dropped about, I don't know, 10. So
I don't like to pick favorites, so I'm not going to answer. It's just not right.
that's very politically correct of you. But
It's just not right. It's so hard because
I know.
you can take it's just the alphabet.
Mhm.
Literally. It's 26 letters and they change lives every single
Yeah.
day if we let them.
Yeah. Oh my
And
goodness.
if we have the knowledge, the strength, and the ability. And that's the thing that's so important to me too, is to be able to take take the time. Like people ask me all the time, what's the best way to get books in kids' hands? I'm like, you need to teach them to read because once they learn how to read and they have a desire to read and they have the love of reading,
Well,
you'll
and
never stop
and they
them.
need to find the right book.
Oh,
right?
definitely.
I can't tell you how many kids have told me that I'm not a reader, I don't like to read, whatever. My own son, who I'm a fantasy author and I've been trying to play dragons on him for years, and he just was not interested. He found a Yogi Berra biography and
Uh-huh.
it changed his life and he just reads voraciously, but he likes nonfiction.
Oh, and
So,
that's
yeah.
nonfiction for me is hard to listen to. I would rather hold it and
Mhm.
touch it and have it tangible because I like to write things and I have feelings and then I've got a journal about my feelings. And
Yes.
if I'm learning something, I want to be able to take notes about it.
Mm.
But there's a lot of times I'll do it in tandem. So I'll have the audiobook playing and the
Oh.
book, and then I can write and
You
I can,
probably absorb more information that
Yes.
way.
yes.
That's really interesting. Obviously we know if we are using different parts of our brain when we are trying to ingest information, we retain it
Right,
better.
right. It's just a kinetic learner.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So one thing that I wanted to bring up, you mentioned historical fiction, or I did, I don't know who did. Did you know that Denise Kiernan is coming to StoryCon?
No.
That was a last night edition,
That
by
is
the way.
awesome.
So she'll be one
What
of
a
our
gift.
masterclass presenters. And you, Heather, you're teaching a class. Were you told what you're teaching yet?
About, well, I don't know what
It's
what the title
content-
is,
It's
but
content creation
Creation.
and other dangerous marketing tools.
But
Tell us
there's-
about
there's
that.
so much to content creation and there is so much to the many facets of social media and all the different ways that we can use it to promote literacy, to promote reading, and to help authors get their books out there.
Yeah.
So much different than it used to be even 10 years ago. The world is just ever changing, which I love. I love how fluid it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you really have to be on top of it because there are those out there who are just, how do you say this correctly? So you can be paid to make an advertisement, and that doesn't mean that what you're getting sold is quality.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I have always refused to do. I only will share stuff that I love and that I find that is worth sharing.
Yeah.
So I read a lot and don't share as much as I read.
I would imagine publishers send you books like crazy
Yes.
and ask you to do reviews, but you don't review everything that you.
I will put up reviews for them, but maybe not on my social media.
Right. That's what I mean. You won't use your platform because you're guarding that platform,
Yes.
right? You
Mhm.
have a reputation to
Right. And there's so many facets to the content creation. So, and the way that Meta is changing all the time, which is what we mostly all use, that are TikTok, and that's changing too. Like the algorithms get changed and those kind of things. And so I think that the part I'm going to leave with you today is I think it's important for people to still want to share and do, even if they don't have a lot of followers, even if they don't think that their video quality is worth it, or they're critiquing themselves and being like, oh, mine's not like this person's, or mine isn't like this. And just so you know, those are, even a 13-second video can be hours of content creation.
Wow.
So if your love is reading, then don't make your love content creation. You don't need
Right.
to. But what you can do, there's just a few things that I hope that I can share with people that will just make it a little bit easier so they can keep sharing books, not make it a daunting task, because that's not what the point is.
The point is to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Well,
to read and enjoy.
Amen to that. And you know what? I have to say, it's been so fun to have you on here, Heather, and to
Thank
get
you.
to meet you for
Yes.
the first time. We're so
fun.
excited to host you at StoryCon.
I'm so excited to be there. It'll be super fun.
Okay.
I hope everybody gets their tickets today.
Go and get your tickets. Go and
if
get
you
your
get
tickets
up today and you go find people who have the codes, you're going to get 20% off.
And she might have the code. So
I might have the
maybe you
codes.
should tell us your handle just as your sign off here.
Oh, my handle on Instagram is Jammers Epilogues, but the code you want to use is Jammers.
Go forth and use your code.
Yep, Jammers. And buy your tickets because you get 20% off today only.
Yep.
And then the price goes up, but the code will still get you 10% off.
There you go. Okay, well, thank you so much for
Come
joining
and
us.
be
We
us.
really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yeah, super fun. Thank you. Hope you guys
Awesome.
all read a book today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you've inspired me.
Good.
It's so nice to meet you.
Good.
You can
Thank
just
you.
walk right here.
Thank you.
I am so excited to welcome our next guest, Kara Swanson. Kara is with Author Conservatory, and she just is really, really, oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Am I? This one. Guys, this is my first time. I'm hosting a virtual guest on this StoryCon launch stream situation. So anyway, Kara is joining us in just a second here, but Kara is with Author Conservatory, which Author Conservatory is one of our title sponsors at StoryCon this year, and they bring a lot to the table. They are an incredible organization, and Kara, thank you so much for joining me today. Can you hear me, Kara?
Hello, Jennifer. Thank you. I can. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Hey, Kara, I want to apologize for just a second. Eric, I can't hear her very well at all. Am I supposed to be able to hear her? That will be hard to have a conversation if I can't. They're going to, thanks for waiting for us, Kara. Okay. Yes, that's much better. Thank you, Kara. So welcome. I'm so glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about Author Conservatory.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. I'm so honored to get to be here with everyone. Yeah, so the Author Conservatory is our 3-year college alternative writing program. So we teach both writing and business skills alongside entrepreneurship skills. So all of our students craft and work on at least 2, if not 3, 4, 5 projects throughout the course of their time there. They work with trained editors, authors. They also work with entrepreneurs, and they learn how to develop businesses themselves that they can build around their writing to be able to support themselves and also market their own books better.
Well, it's a huge, comprehensive program. Just taking someone from the idea of like idea conception, all the way through the pitfalls and the industry know-how that is needed to actually produce a novel. So I think that that's really fascinating. Tell us a little bit more about what Author Conservatory is going to be doing at StoryCon.
Yes, I am so excited that we get to be there. We will be bringing some of our staff, some of our graduates, some of our students, and we're going to have an amazing booth. They have been so generous to give us quite a large booth. So we're going to be running competitions, contests. We're going to be doing giveaways. We're going to be providing signed copies from some of your favorite authors at our booth as well. And we also get to sponsor the educator breakfast, which I am so excited about getting to just love on and support and pour into all of our amazing educators for that breakfast. And we'll also be helping out a little bit in the author green room, which we have some incredibly, incredibly excited alumni for.
I'm certain, especially given the lineup of authors that are going to be joining us at StoryCon this year. We had so many people last year say, there's no way you've messed up. There's no way you can top what you did last year, and it's it's an honor and a privilege that we get to host these amazingly talented storytellers. So, do you have a favorite author that is going to be attending StoryCon, or is there somebody personally that
I
you're
feel like
excited to meet?
there's so many. I feel like it's hard to beat Brandon Sanderson. I think when I saw that name, I was like, wow. I mean, obviously, so many incredible storytellers. But yeah, I think both being able to learn from the wisdom of just his skill of storycraft, but even just, I mean, all we saw was his booth last year, right? And that alone was so impressive. Like Disney Store, who? And so I'm just so excited to get to learn from yeah, just getting to be in his sphere a little bit just will be wonderful.
It'll be really neat. I feel like uh you Author Conservatory has sent, how many kids did you send to StoryCon last year? It was quite a few,
I
right?
think somewhere close to 30 to 50.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
what would you say was the takeaway from that experience? What do you feel your students gained? Kind of
Yeah.
paint a
Yeah.
picture for those people who haven't been able to attend.
Yes, yeah. There were so many just positive, encouraging takeaways that our students had, but they talked about how much they loved just an environment that was really built for young writers, being able to see so many young writers really well cared for and being given space to just ask questions and learn and grow together. They loved just the access, like the amazing resources to be able to meet with some of their, favorite authors, people they have grown up with in a lot of ways, being able to sit in on these sessions and learn from just amazing authors like Shannon Hale, like so many incredible authors. They also talked about just loving the experience of getting to submit for things like mentor and pitch appointments in advance. How valuable that was, as that's something that not every conference is able to do. And I think even just the attention to detail the StoryCon provided last year really stood out in all of our students' perspectives. And I mean, I've been recommending it by far as the top conference I've been recommending our students attend. Just the level of care, the level of intentionality, just the resources of the amount of authors and the caliber that you guys are bringing. It's truly unparalleled. I don't have a better option to send them to, in terms of a place that just has, yeah, just mind-boggling level of authors.
Well, thank you, by the way. Thank you for all of those kind words, and I can accept that from on behalf of all of the StoryCon team, because it has been a very thoughtful process. One thing that we've tried to do with this educator book banquet, which is you Author Conservatory is going to be a sponsor, is just provide unique access to authors in different ways. And the event that Author Conservatory is sponsoring, one of this educator book banquet, will actually allow all of these educators to come in and sit down, eat a hot breakfast or lunch, depending on which one they go to, and meet each of these 10 authors that will be coming through and speed dating with them. So it's just kind of a unique thing. But yeah, so many opportunities. I think that Author Conservatory, if you have a student or you yourself are a young aspiring writer, you should really look them up. They have so much to offer in the space of helping to train the author, advance into the level of professionalism that everyone wants, and that's becoming published. So definitely look them up. They're going to be a huge part of StoryCon. Kara, we really appreciate you taking the time to jump on for a quick second with us. We're thrilled to host you at StoryCon again this coming year.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's truly our honor to be there, and I'm just so excited. And thank you for letting us come and support your guys' vision. It's truly amazing and spectacular.
Well, we'll see you in a few months.
Sounds good. See you then.
Bye. Okay, so excuse me. We are about to transition into, I'm going to introduce you to Gwen Priest, who is actually, her writing pen name is Lee Statham. Lee is an incredible author. She's a brilliant poet, and she has been working with the Operation Literacy organization for almost a decade, or maybe longer. But she's an important part of what we do, and we just couldn't do this without her. She is responsible for curating and running our Teen Poet Society. And the culminating offering that comes from that society is we publish a teen poetry collection. And this collection is published with Owl Hollow Press in partnership. So let's hear from Lee Statham.
Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. I was just reading the latest copy of the teen poetry collection produced by StoryCon. What is this, you ask? Well, I'm so glad that you're asking. It is a collection of poetry by teens, ages 13 to 19. They send in their poems, and we, oh, my name is Lee Statham, by the way, choose the best ones to be published. Now, this is not your usual poetry contest for teens where everyone who submits gets published. No. We only take the best of the best. We look for voice. We look for beautiful imagery, for heart-rending emotion. We look for original ideas, and then we take those and we put them in this. Oh, you like the cover? Well, I'm so glad you noticed, because the cover is also produced by a teen. We take photographs, artwork, anything not made by AI, anything that you create yourself, and we put it on the cover. Because what good is a collection of poems by teens if the cover's done by a dumb adult? No good at all. So, if you would like to enter this year, please do. We'll accept as many poems as you'd like. Follow our instructions on Submittable, and then wait eagerly as we read through your work and decide who's the best of the best. Now, if you do get accepted, you get a copy of the latest book. If you don't get accepted, you get feedback, because we want you to be an excellent poet. We will tell you how you can improve, what you can do better, what we loved, and what we're looking for in the future. If you are chosen by our executive guest judge, who is usually a poet laureate, that is someone who gets paid to write poetry. Yes, that is a thing. They represent their state or their county, and they get paid to write poetry. And we have them choose from our top 5 or 10 poems who will be the grand prize champion, and that person will be paid for their poetry. $50. That's 10 fives as a gift card to the bookstore of their choice. Now, if that isn't good enough, I don't know what is. Our cover winner will also be paid $50 to the bookstore of their choice, because you are worthy of being paid for your poetry and your photography. You are artists in your own right, and we love you, and we want to publish you, and the world deserves to read your beautiful, beautiful writing. So submit today.
Cannot express how much I love this woman. She is so fantastic. So Lee Statham is wonderful. And one thing that she does with this Poet Society is that every quarter we actually will meet with teen poets. Online, we do a virtual poetry reading, and it's fantastic. So I am just really excited for the opportunity that teens have to get to use this program and submit their work. I think it's extremely validating and important. One thing that I would also add, like Lee said, even if you don't get selected as one of the poets that is published in the collection this coming year, it's such a huge opportunity to get feedback on your poetry. We are not an organization that just takes your money, which it doesn't cost any money to even submit for this poetry collection, but we don't just take your submission and brush it aside if it's not one of our winners. We really are about helping to elevate your writing. And so that is one thing that I love about Lee Statham, is that she and her team are so thoughtful in the feedback that they give people as they're submitting to that collection. Another thing that she didn't mention in her video is that teens recognized in that poetry collection are invited to come to the Operation Literacy Awards Gala, and they're honored and recognized at that fancy black tie event in Salt Lake City, Utah. So if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, just do it. Just go and submit. Go to storycon.org/contests or if you just go to the main website, you'll see a contest tab at the top of the website, and go and check out all of our contests and publishing opportunities. So I get the privilege of introducing quite the character to you. And as if Lee Statham was not enough of a character for us, we have a new venture that I'm excited to introduce. But instead of me painting this picture, I'll just tee it up by saying that StoryCon is introducing a new experience in our exhibit hall, something that will help passersby immerse themselves into books. And I'm going to turn the time over to Sir Thomas Booksworth, to tell us a little bit more about the Story Explorium.
Hello, this is Thomas Booksworth. Is my signal coming through? Good. I am the chief curator of the Story Explorium. We in the Society of Story Exploration and Conservation have been hard at work using our vortex machine to hop into books to find and protect relics and artifacts before the evil villain Agonis Valifar can send his mechanical minion, the automatic Illiterator, in to destroy them. Our efforts have been great, but we are in need of your assistance. We need your help to open the official Story Explorium booth. We are starting a GoFundMe campaign on September 1st of this year. Your donations allow us to open the Story Explorium booth at StoryCon, where you can see relics from some of your favorite stories. The booth will also allow us to sell merchandise, creating a sustainable source of funding for years to come. You can learn more about the Story Explorium booth at operationliteracy.org/Story Explorium. It is an exciting thing that we're doing. I just got word back that one of our explorers has returned from Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. They have successfully found and protected Oathbringer. It will be on display at the Story Explorium this coming StoryCon. Thank you for your help. We look forward to seeing you there.
Isn't that the best thing you've seen like in a long time? So what I love, okay, so the SSEC, the Society of Story Exploration and Conservation, this fictitious group of conservationists and explorers are hopping into books and bringing back artifacts to be displayed in the Story Explorium. It's really, really cool. There's a lot of reasons why we are doing this. You know, one is, like I mentioned before, the community angle. We want to inspire new readers. We want to add a level of awe and bring some joy to people as they're going to conventions. So we will be bringing the Story Explorium to several conventions throughout Utah this year and next, and possibly beyond after that. But one of the artifacts that will be on display, so just so that I can paint the full picture, think Indiana Jones vibe museum of artifacts. And there will also be some merchandise for purchase in the Story Explorium that is for your avid book lover, your reader and your writer, to help them on their next adventure into story. So that will be a lot of fun. For speaking as the CEO of Operation Literacy, I'll take my host hat off and put my CEO hat on for just a second. One thing that Operation Literacy is always trying to do is find sustainable ways to continue to do the good that we do as an organization. One of our programs, for example, Book Drop, is an entirely fundraising heavy program. It's not revenue generating at all. We spend thousands and thousands of dollars every year going into Title I schools and providing free books and author visits to children, connecting them with story at a young age if we can, and inspiring them to read books. So that, and so many other programs and opportunities that we provide for children, there's a heavy expense to that, and we rely on fundraising from all sorts of places. And this is an effort for us to try and raise funds for the nonprofit in a way that also lifts the community in really meaningful ways. Some of the relics that you might see displayed on the Story Explorium, in the Story Explorium, will be things like Robin Hood's bow and Moby Dick's tooth and so many others. But you did hear Sir Thomas Booksworth talking about the Oathbringer sword. So just to paint this picture, just so you understand the full caliber of what we're talking about, we're actually partnered with the Dragonsteel production team, which is Brandon Sanderson's company, to work to get the design right on this sword. So their art team is approving the design. The actual construction of the sword is being done by an Hollywood FX artist named Clark Schaefer, who worked on as one of the original artists on the Iron Man suit. So it's going to be a 6-foot long Oathbringer sword on display in the Story Explorium. So that's really exciting. We're so thrilled. I have to say that we're so grateful for all of the team at Operation Literacy for the amazing work that they do to impact our society. You know, one thing that we, if I can jump into some statistics for you, in January, the NAEP actually just produced new stats that say that in Utah, and this is actually better than the national average. It's still pitiful, but more than 50% of our children are reading below grade level. That means that, and what's interesting, even though 49% of children are reading at grade level and 51% of children are below, 80% of parents think that their child is reading at grade level. So there's a huge disconnect there. But here's what's fascinating. They test these kids. These statistics come from, are tested in the 4th grade. And there's a reason for that. In the 4th grade, 3rd grade, we can predict outcomes. We know that if a child is not reading at grade level by the 3rd grade, then they are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school. Now, that's a crazy statistic, but it impacts society directly. When we know that the average high school dropout has a negative net fiscal contribution to our society. So it's a huge issue. It's something that Operation Literacy is working so hard to address. And we do this with several partners, with several programs. We're working to help young children gain access to early screenings, to dyslexia screenings, and softwares that can help them navigate reading with learning disabilities. We're also working to inspire a love of reading with our book drop program, as I already mentioned. We provide summer camps and have an incredible summer camp director and crew of people that are helping to provide opportunities for children to connect and engage with creative writing throughout the summer. And then obviously our big convention, StoryCon, is kind of the culminating flagship of what we do. One thing that I love about StoryCon this year, you know, when we're talking about impact and sustainability and this big weight of what needs, you know, this mountain that we're trying to climb, and, you know, in the face of this literacy crisis, we are adding an adult ticket to StoryCon. And if you're sitting there going, wait, I thought that this was an event that was just for kids. It used to be. The interesting thing is when you introduce this adult ticket, don't assume that we're just going to throw everybody in one room and have them learn from each other. We still want to preserve the teen experience that we're known for, taking teens seriously in their own classes. And so the teens will actually have their entire area of the Salt Palace that will be theirs. The only time that our teens will interact with adults is for our main stage keynotes. But if you're an adult watching this and you are an aspiring writer, or even just love story and want to surround yourself with people who are creative and imaginative and love story as well, then StoryCon is a great place for you. It is something that you will have your own programming as an adult at StoryCon, which I think is really, really cool. I get to introduce an adult to you. Heather B. Moore, we were talking about contests, and we just saw that awesome video from Lee Statham. Heather B. Moore is an incredibly talented author who is, I don't even want to estimate the number of books that she's published, but it's kind of crazy. She's our next guest, and here she is. Hello, Heather. You can just walk right along this way because it's a little bit of a gauntlet. Thanks for making the drive.
No problem.
I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like I have a billion things that we need to talk about
Oh,
because
yeah, for sure.
there's so much going on. But first of all, introduce yourself. I started, but I know you'll do a better job than I have. I think that you've written, you can give us a more specific number of
Okay.
the books that you've written instead of a billion like
Right.
I
Yeah, I did
used.
count. One of my friends made me count a few years ago, and it was like 106. So it's probably 110 by now, I'm sure. But I am
I love
Heather.
that you
Yeah.
don't know. Just let's
It's
call
okay.
that out.
Well, and I also write some novellas and short stories. So it's like, do I count? I mean, you count them, but do I
They're
really count them?
publications. Yeah, you,
true,
I
right?
think you do. I think
Yeah.
you do. Well, that's really cool. So I would be shocked if you haven't read a Heather B. Moore book. But in the event that we've caught somebody who hasn't, what do you like to write typically? Tell us like what
Okay.
your genre you lean to.
Yeah, so I write mostly historical fiction. I started out writing historical fiction. That's what I got published in first. I write really ancient, like Mesoamerica. I have a Queen of Sheba 3,000 years ago. But my most recent historical novel is World War II on the women aviators in America. And so I kind of have jumped all over and I write some contemporary. I also have a pen name, Jane Red, where I write young adult speculative. And anyway, that's probably it. I could go on, but I won't.
Yeah, sure,
That's
sure
good.
you could. Your World War II novel is the favorite thing that I've ever read of yours, by the way.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
really
Thank
enjoyed that.
you.
So we kind of have two things to talk about here,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because Heather's going to be teaching at StoryCon. Do you know what you're teaching at StoryCon yet?
Yes, so I'm really excited. So I have a book called The Paper Daughters of Chinatown, and it's written for adults or upper young adult. But my publisher asked me to do a young reader version, which is basically for the middle grade market. And I was really lucky enough to get Allison Hung Merrill to co-write with me, and she's a beautiful writer. She's an absolute sweetheart, and she is really fun. And every time I'm with her, I learn something new. And anyway, so she's going to teach with me, and we're going to talk about whether or not you should co-write and what that looks like. And it's fun, but it's a lot of work, and you have to
A lot of
you
collaboration.
got to pick the right person, and you have to really just both sacrifice.
That's so awesome. So Heather serves dual purposes at StoryCon. We're going to run you ragged, I'm afraid, because not only is she one of our wonderful presenters, but she also is a huge part of our organization. She's accepted a role as a director this year with Operation Literacy. And I have to say that when you applied for this role, I almost did a backflip. I was so, it was a sense of relief knowing that, oh my goodness, if Heather B. Moore is in charge of contests for Operation Literacy, then we're going to be set. Not to put
Yeah.
too much pressure on you.
It will be so fun. I think it'll be so fun. So I have done, I've obviously entered a lot of contests over the years, and I have helped run contests. I've done a ton of judging. So I'm really excited to bring this to StoryCon as well. And we're not really reinventing the wheel, but we're adding some fun features.
Well, let's talk
Yeah.
about some of
Okay.
those because what
Yeah.
we've done in the past, we've always had a first chapter contest for teens. Last year, we introduced a first line contest for teens, which was an interesting experience,
Yeah.
an experiment because we didn't know how it would be received, and the teens loved it. And then we've had a tween first paragraph contest. But Heather's come in and just like all sorts of new things are happening. Tell us about the other contests. that
So
are
we're
available.
still going to have those same contests, but new this year is we are going to allow more than one entry. And so you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, what should I choose? Should I choose my
If you're like Heather B. Moore,
fantasy
you
or-
probably have a lot of stories in your
Yeah,
head.
you don't have to choose. You can enter more than one. And also with the teen first chapter contest, we noticed this last StoryCon that we've had adults coming and really enjoying the conference, and we're adding a lot more to that. And so we're going to have an adult chapter writing contest. So we're excited about that. We're obviously going to still have the tween paragraph, the teen first chapter, the teen first line. But when you go in to submit, you're going to have some options of how much feedback you want, and there will be some pricing options too. And so if you feel like you're really ready for a critique or a writing coach, then you're going to have that opportunity.
I
But
think
yeah.
that the way that this is structured, I've never seen it structured
Mhm.
this way before. I think it's really innovative. And I know that depending on the stages of my
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
career, I was starving for feedback, especially for feedback, professional feedback that's trusted. Tell us more about who you plan to use for judging and things like that.
Yeah. So I don't have an official group yet, but I think I know almost everybody in the writing community that I could possibly use, and they'll be publishing professionals, there'll be editors, there'll be published authors that you will be very excited to work with.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a huge opportunity. I know that I got my first break. It was actually Storymakers
Mhm.
first chapter contest. I was a winner of the first chapter contest in 2 different categories, and I was just up until that point,
Yeah.
I had never thought that I had so much imposter syndrome, and I remember calling my husband and going, maybe I'm good. Like maybe I suck less than I'm good, or if that made sense, I don't know. It's been a long day. I
No,
have to
it's
say.
it's important. I mean, I think entering contests is wonderful for the community of writing because not only are you pushing yourself to hit a deadline and to polish something, is
Yeah.
that you're putting yourself out there, and you have to do that as a writer, even if you are an introvert like me. Is maybe I messed it up, but if you need to put yourself out there in that form, and a contest is a great way to do it.
Right. It's scary,
Yeah.
right? But you do it once and you realize you
Mhm.
didn't die, and
Right.
so you can do it again and you'll be great. So one other aspect of your role as the contest director for Operation Literacy is oversight of a program that we call TRCA, or the Teen Readers' Choice Award.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So if anyone of you came last year, it was just fabulous. They announced the winners of the gala, and the thing I love about this award is it is chosen by teens, and it's not like this stuffy panel of literature people. It's you guys, it's the teenagers that are choosing this award. You're choosing books that you love, and you're honoring authors that you love, and so that's what's so fun.
What's fun too is when you vote for the Teen Readers' Choice Award, you're increasing the likelihood that that author will actually be at
Mhm.
StoryCon too.
Yeah.
So go and vote for your favorite authors, and the criteria is that it's books published in this year and
last year.
year. So you have kind of a 2-year window, but you can go onto our website at storycon.org/vote, and you can find out more about the Teen
Yeah,
Readers'
voting
Choice
opens
Award.
today. It goes through the end of September,
Awesome.
and then we'll have a finalist round, and then we will note. You will not know this, but we will notify the winners and nudge them to get them to StoryCon.
We're gonna get him. We're
Yeah.
gonna get him to come. Even last year, Suzanne Collins was we have a category that was the best books of the last decade.
Yeah.
And Suzanne Collins was a winner. And it's kind of as our organization, we love us, but we are intimidated by the idea that Suzanne Collins would give us her time.
Right.
And were you shocked when you saw
Yeah, I was
Suzanne
like, is
Collins?
that really her? It was amazing.
She didn't come in person, but she did submit a very thoughtful, meaningful video to us that was just wonderful and encouraging of teens. And she's a cool lady.
Yeah.
Really cool. Well, Heather, you're wonderful.
Thank
you
you.
so much. Go and read Heather B. Moore. And if you want to see her at StoryCon, definitely come register today. We're supposed to say this.
because it's 20% off, right?
It's
Right
20%
now.
off right now, and
Yeah.
it's only good for 2 days. So it's good today and tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's like our whole early bird. We've already sold, and I don't know if you saw this,
I haven't seen it yet.
but we've already sold 1,096 tickets was the last
Wow.
number that they flashed at me over there. So in one day, in one afternoon.
I think I gotta go buy a ticket.
I know you better
to get in.
I might need to too. I actually was
forget.
thinking that. I'm like, maybe we should send our staff their codes right now. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Heather,
everyone.
we
Thank you.
appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, we will see you February.
Thanks for making the drive. I really appreciate it. So next up, we have, we're going to be talking to Poppy Books, which is an amazing bookseller who is the exclusive bookseller for StoryCon. But first, I want to tell you a little bit more about that early bird registration. So the early bird gets the worm, or in this case, the early bird gets 20% off StoryCon. Our early bird pricing is the biggest discount that you will ever get before StoryCon. And frankly, if you don't register in the next few days, you may not get a ticket regardless, because it is, we've sold so many tickets today, it's insane. So our early bird pricing is the biggest discount that you'll get. It ends tomorrow, and the code is earlybird26, all caps, what? And no spaces, sorry, earlybird26. So go on to storycon.org, grab your tickets, make sure you sign up for master classes and pitch sessions and contests and t-shirts and whatever else you want. But most importantly, you can manage your ticket later. Grab that ticket so that you have a spot at StoryCon. Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce some friends. I love these women. The Poppy Books, if you haven't heard about Poppy Books yet, you might be living under a rock, because Poppy Books is pretty awesome. Whitney, you can just walk right through here. This is Whitney Gallegos joining me today. Did I say your last name properly?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was great.
I did it.
Took me a minute to get used to it, so I get it.
So Whitney is wonderful. Whitney is one of the founders, owners, partner of Poppy Books.
Yeah.
So first, just to get started, tell us a little bit more about Poppy Books.
Yeah, so we're a mother-daughter owned independent bookstore down in Spanish Fork. We opened in 2022, and this is our second year being the bookstore for StoryCon, and we're so excited to be here.
They're so fantastic. And if you have no reason to go to Spanish Fork, Utah, you thought you didn't have a reason, because you actually do have a reason. You need to go see this bookstore. It's one of a kind. It's so unique. Tell them a little bit more about, I'll try, but you'll do a better job. Tell them a little bit more about what they're going to find when they walk into Poppy Books.
Yeah, so we're located in a little 1930s old house, and when we moved everything in, there was all these weird little cabinets that were around. So our big idea for those, we were like, well, let's just make little miniature scenes to put in all of them. So now when you come in the store, you'll find little miniature book scenes everywhere you look, basically, along with, all of the books.
Lots of books. So many
We love
books.
books. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember not knowing what to expect when I first walked in, and maybe I'm giving away an Easter egg here, but even walking in the front, if you go through the front entrance, the first time I walked in there, I saw this little gap in some brick at the bottom, and I'm like, what is that? And it was like a little, was it mice? It's like these little cute family of mice that are just chilling reading books in this little brick. Anyway,
Yeah.
you got to go see it. I
Yep.
can't even describe it, obviously, but it's darling. So Poppy Books, we're so excited and privileged to get to work with you as our exclusive bookseller. What does that mean?
Yeah, so basically we have the opportunity to sell books for all of the authors that are attending StoryCon. So when you're there to get your book signed, if you don't have theirs yet, or you just found an author that you loved, we're the ones you'll come to grab their book and then go get it signed and then keep it
Awesome.
forever. So
What is this? We've got a visitor. What is this?
I forgot to grab this.
Oh,
Yes, so
okay.
this is a giveaway that StoryCon is doing. So we have a few books from the
Oh.
store. These are all attending authors. We have Sarah B. Larson, Catherine Purdy, and Jennifer Nielsen. So to enter the giveaway to win a book, you just DM StoryCon at StoryCon USA. I think just the word giveaway to enter.
Just
So
giveaway.
you can win some books.
Hey,
So,
that's so fun. And
yeah.
we've had all three? Yes.
Yeah.
All three of these guys have been on our launch stream. Maybe that was intentional.
Great. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure it was. I'm making fun of myself. So we were talking about Poppy Books is our exclusive bookseller. That means that they are actually your gateway to the fast lane, Disneyland, how everybody wishes they had that fast pass, and they are your gateway to that. So explain how signings work at StoryCon.
Yeah, so on the StoryCon website, there is a link to our storefront where you can go and pre-order books from the attending authors. Pre-ordering before the event will get you access to the priority line, so you'll skip the whole long line for the authors you love, and you'll get your book signed first. Right now, we have up all of the keynote authors that are attending, and in the coming weeks, we'll be adding the rest of the authors because there's
Right.
so many.
I went on your site. I think so. You have our keynotes, but we have two different kind of featured author group pools. So you have
Oh.
our keynotes and then our featured authors that are all teaching our master classes.
Oh.
So if you want to catch Trisha Levenseller,
Mhm.
for instance, she's a master class teacher that will
Mhm.
be up there and stuff. So they're all keynote worthy though. My
Great.
goodness,
Yeah.
they're so
Yeah.
great. So I had to ask you, Whitney, like you're coming to StoryCon to work, but you're
Yeah.
also an avid book lover and
Yep.
reader.
Yep.
Who are you most excited to meet?
I think it's really exciting that Brandon Sanderson's here this year. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
That's a
So, and I
huge
still
deal.
haven't had the opportunity to meet him yet. So
I'm
that'll
actually
be fun.
surprised by
I know.
that.
I know.
So if you ever wanted to pre-order books to get in a fast lane, this is the time.
Yep.
You want to go and purchase that book through that Poppy Book website. You'll go and pick up your book at StoryCon.
Yep.
And then just like at Disneyland, they have a lane, like our general standby lane, and then that fast lane that everybody who is in the standby lane likes a little bit less. So,
Yeah. And we were there last year. We saw some of those lines. They got a little bit long.
They
So
can get long. And
I
we
would
try.
recommend.
So
Yeah.
speaking of signings, just really quickly, there are two different signing opportunities at StoryCon. We have in our exhibit hall, it's open to the general public. So anybody could come in to Poppy Books, buy a book, go and see an author, have that experience. Even if you don't attend StoryCon, you could even pre-order books from Poppy Books and just bring your family to StoryCon. Come into the exhibit hall. It's filled with so many fun interactive experiences. And you don't need a ticket to come into our exhibit hall. So regardless of whether you're interested in attending StoryCon, the conference, still go onto our website and go hover over that home button and you'll see the bookstore. Go and buy those books because it's going to be a great opportunity for you and your family to get to meet some really cool authors and experience the Poppy Book magic that comes from that. But the second way that if you do have a ticket, you'll have two opportunities to meet these authors because we'll have a mass signing on Saturday, the second day of the convention. So do you have any advice? Now you have as much experience attending StoryCon as I do to date. So what is your advice to people coming to the convention? What should they plan for?
Ooh. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with the classes or anything,
Sure.
but the thing I loved the most last year is the big old cans of soda that the Salt Palace has. So I would take advantage of the vending machines because they're pretty great.
You heard it here. Go and get the vending machine.
Yep.
I
Get
love
your
that so
caffeine.
much.
You're probably going to need it.
I
So,
actually
for a
feel
full
like
day of reading
you
and
probably
learning.
will.
And yeah.
What's the vibe that you see, from your perspective in the exhibit hall? Like last year we had a heavy influence of teens at this event. This year we're selling as many teen tickets as we are adult tickets. How is that going to change StoryCon? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it'll change much. I think the general environment of StoryCon is just people who love books. And I think no matter your age, like there's something you can connect with other people and other book lovers. Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
course.
joining
Thank you for
us.
having
We
me.
really appreciate
Yeah.
it. Whitney Gallegos, she is amazing. And I mean like 40 like top person under 40. What was that?
40 under 40.
40 under 40. That I'm like, it's not 40 under, but it is.
For Utah Valley. So.
Oh, don't minimize it. She was in a magazine,
I was
guys.
in a magazine.
She was a big
yeah.
deal and had a photo shoot and all sorts of stuff. But really, it's because
Thanks,
she's doing
Jen.
amazing things in this indie book space. We need our indie bookstores. We need them. So we're so thrilled and honored to get to work with Poppy and to support each other and to partner in this meaningful way. They're just awesome. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Jen.
Yeah, for sure. Eric, in this transition, I just want you to know that the iPad says unable to connect to studio. Do you want me to click reconnect? Okay. I'm ready. Okay, awesome. Well, what's next? Oh, yes, I know. I'm so excited to introduce to you Emma Nilsson. Emma Nilsson is the editor-in-chief at Owl Hollow Press and the founder of the publishing house, and a dear friend who has worked with Operation Literacy to help with Teen Author Boot Camp and now StoryCon, help teens experience a true publishing experience with our teen short story anthology. So let's hear from Emma.
Hi.
Hi, Emma. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, as I just said, so of all of our partners and sponsors, we've actually now to date worked with Owl Hollow Press longer than any other organization, and that is extremely meaningful to us. Tell everyone, I gave just like a brief overview, but tell everyone about the short story anthology.
Okay. So one of the things that has always been part of the mission for StoryCon and before that Teen Author Boot Camp and Operation Literacy is this chance for not only for teens to learn about writing, but to have the chance to exercise and practice the skills that they use. So the anthology is the publication that kind of brings that together. So we are a small press and we follow an exact publishing process where teens can submit their work, they submit a query, they're chosen from a large slush pile of entries, and then they go through the full process from editing to working with an editor, working with final proofs, and just getting that whole publishing experience from beginning to end.
And it's such a remarkable gift and opportunity that you provide these teens. And I want to talk more about Owl Hollow Press specifically, but just to finish this point, what has been your experience? You've done this for almost a decade. Yeah. What has been your experience? Like, what is the takeaway? Why is this, why do you do it? I guess is my question.
Okay. In the early parts of the process, every year we get stuck in the weeds and we're like, oh, why do we do this? Because it is a lot of work. I think the real payoff is when we attend the conference or the anthology reception and meet the kids who are in it for the first time. We've had parents come up and talk to us about how it changed their child's life. It gave them something to feel confident in. Kids struggling with different identity issues, kids struggling to find where they belong. There's not a lot of places for the arts to belong. And so it's these kind of misfit kids that have a lot to say, and this gives them a platform for that. And so the reward is talking to them and realizing how meaningful it is for them, and also for us to get a glimpse into this previously has been all about the teens and the kids, so getting a glimpse into what they care about and the struggles that they have and that kind of thing.
Totally. No, I love that so much. And I agree. I think when you actually get to see, when we get to connect with people in person, it's so meaningful, right? Like it just changes, it changes everything. I've seen these kids, I've seen them, this dose of validation that comes from the anthology, and these kids, they get the opportunity to come to the Operation Literacy Gala and come on stage and be recognized, or at least be recognized standing where they are. I don't know how we did it. We've done it different multiple years, but however we do it, to be recognized and to validate it in that way is just super, super meaningful. So if people wanted to check out past anthologies, those are available online, right?
They are. And one of the things I will say too that's been really fun is we've had a lot of different authors who sorry kids. So every year we have a different author, a published famous author who writes a foreword for the anthology, and that's been really exciting too, because it gives the kids the chance to be published with somebody really important and famous. And so, yes, they're available. They can be found on Owl Hollow Press's website. I think there's links on StoryCon's website. They're easily searchable on Amazon, and also connecting with some of the previous forward authors who are still doing great work in the industry, and finding the anthology through them is something that we're really proud of.
Well, and to punctuate your point, I mean, imagine Christopher Paolini, who wrote the foreword of, I don't think he wrote the last one, the one before, but
yeah.
Christopher Paolini, surrounded by these kids and actually getting to talk to them at this gala experience and just encourage them and validate them. It was so meaningful.
Yes.
And so, yeah, definitely go to Owl Hollow Press. I want to talk a little bit more about your publishing house. Tell us more about, because this is a passion project. This is a philanthropic project that you do. And I know you do several anthologies. I published in an anthology with you before, but tell us more about what you look for as a publisher.
Okay. We have been really lucky to get some amazing authors who have published with the big four, big five, however many we're at this point, but that have something a little bit weird. And I think that's kind of what we specialize in, is the genre fiction, especially for teens, that maybe brings together concepts that aren't really the mainstream type that you can find on the shelf in Barnes & Noble. And so I think we've been really lucky to capitalize on amazing authors where they've either published before with big publishers and they say this isn't a great fit, but they have the skill level. I know a lot of smaller presses kind of take what they can get. We've been so lucky to have phenomenal authors come to us, and so we do a lot of genre fiction and a lot in the teen space, and we have some great nonfiction for teens as well.
Actually, one of your, was it middle grade? It was middle grade. One of your middle grade titles was a Teen Reader's Choice Award winner last year.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
So the author, Josh Roberts, is fabulous, and he writes for a lot of big publications. He has a travel blog, and so he's been in the space for a long time, but his book series, The Witches of Willow Cove, is just a darling middle grade. One of the things that's interesting about him that I'll talk about because it's specific to teens is he's kind of honed in on this niche that straddles the kids and the teens, because there's not a lot for the 12 to 14-year-old space. And so that's what he has done really well is, fantasy, fun, witchy stories for that kind of middle group.
I love that. I love that. And we're coming up on that time of year. So you should go and check out Josh Roberts and all of the books, all of the titles at Owl Hollow Press. They do some really amazing work. And I think you're known for beautiful work, beautiful covers, high quality products. So it's been a privilege and an honor to work with Owl Hollow Press in this meaningful way and kind of stand in solidarity and in a fight to empower the next generation of writers. So we are so grateful for Emma and Owl Hollow Press, and I'm excited to not talk to you through a screen and just to get to squeeze you and see you at StoryCon. You have a few authors, just in part, just as some final words. Emma, who from Owl Hollow Press is coming to StoryCon this year? Do you remember?
I know I'm going to
Did I
forget
put you on
someone
the
and
spot?
make it feel so we've got Kes Trester, who has an amazing fantasy series. We've got J.M. Sullivan, who has a lot of fairy tale retellings that are fabulous. Josh Roberts will be there again. I know I'm forgetting. Lise Meyer has a nonfiction. Joe Schaefer has a very great survival story, a teen survival story. And we have an amazing author, I don't know if I can name her, that has a nonfiction about writing for teens that's phenomenal. So check that out too, Teen Writer's Guide. But yeah, we
I
always
really
have such
wasn't
a
looking for a plug. I wasn't thinking of me.
well, I'm like, am I supposed to talk about her?
No, you're totally good. Yes, I am a proud member of the flock at Owl Hollow, but also Lee Statham, who
Oh, yes.
runs our poetry collection. You guys work together. You publish the poetry collection. she does the curating and all of that, but you guys work together on that project as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a huge lift. It's so much work, and I just want to stand, and on behalf of all of the kids that you've been able to impact over the years, and say thank you, represent them, and just say thank you. We're so excited to have you back to StoryCon, and you'll be able to find Owl Hollow Press's booth in our exhibit hall, and if you come to our gala, you're going to see a lot of them there, and you're probably going to take a class or two from their authors. So they're integrated. They're all over the place, and we love them. So
And it's honestly one of the highlights of our career is being involved with StoryCon. So thank you.
it's the privilege goes two ways, Emma. Thank you so much for joining us. We are at an end, so I'll say goodbye, Emma, and I'll talk to you, I'm sure, soonish.
All right. Thank you for having me. Bye.
For sure. Well, what an amazing 4 hours. We've covered everything from our filmmaking and songwriting contest to our incredible lineup of authors and new adult track. Remember, early bird pricing gets 20% off all StoryCon tickets. And the recording of this launch stream will be available on YouTube if you've missed anything. And we can't wait to see you in February. So thank you for joining us for this special launch stream, and get ready for some truly amazing genius at StoryCon. You do not want to miss it. Go get your tickets right now.